This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by block parties, scientists, or monkeys. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And guys, it's been a minute. It's been like 2 months since my last episode. If you've been hanging out waiting for an episode, I apologize for the delay. But if you do follow on Instagram, you'll know why that's been. We did just make the announcement the other day that we do have 2 official co-hosts joining the show, which is very exciting. And it's going to take a little bit of pressure off me as well. So I'm sure you're eager to meet them, but that is not today's episode. That's going to be in March. However, I've got a bunch of cool guests lined up for the next few weeks before I am joined by my new co-hosts. And I did say that in the live thing as well, that we will continue to do solo shows with me interviewing people, so that way we can still keep that same flavor of the show, but also have a bit more structure with the releases as well. So today's a really exciting episode because I have a guest who I've been trying to get on for a little while. I haven't been put too much pressure on them because they were a little bit like, oh, I don't know. They're a little bit shy, but they are from my past, and they are literally someone who did know me when I was a teenage film snob. Our first guest today knew me when I was 16 years old. Very few people on this show have known me that long. And the second is a guy I have only just met physically for the first time today. And when I say physically, I mean through the computer laptop. But we have talked a little bit on Instagram as well. And he's an absolute sweetheart of a guy. So I'm really excited to introduce you to both of them and talk to them about films today. So my first guest, she worked with me at the video store. We literally slung DVDs and VHSs together for a couple of years. We would rewind tapes. We would smuggle candy bars from the shelf, and we would talk about tapping solos and heavy metal bands. And she wasn't into any of that, but she was very gracious and tolerated me. And the other guy is her boyfriend. That's just not who he is. He's not just her boyfriend. He's an incredible drummer and a really funny guy and a huge movie fan. So I'm excited to have them. Please welcome, I think might be the new power couple on the show, Tania and Stefan. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey James, how you going?
Good. How are you?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel so famous.
Yeah.
I always try to do a nice intro. I always try to do a nice intro for people, but I can't write it down. The 2 times I've written it down, I sound like a robot. So I'm literally like, all right, I've said the intro, make something up.
You're natural, mate. You're natural.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Perfectly, honestly. That's our relationship in a nutshell. Video Easy days.
That's it. It is crazy. We were talking before. I say we were talking just before. We've spoken for an hour. But it has been at least 15 years since I've seen you, Tania, which is insane. We've caught up a little bit on social media, and
we have.
in the last, I would say 6 months, probably a little bit more so with me being more active online, and then Steph, you started following me as well. So we've been chatting a little bit. But it is crazy that considering we hung out every Saturday, like that we just kind of like stopped talking. But I guess that's just life. You just kind of
totally. Just things get in the way, new jobs, new, universities, degree, a couple extra jobs on top of that, and I guess some movement in terms of living arrangements. Yeah.
Some of us got degrees, some of us just continued to drop out.
No, I eventually got mine. No, honestly.
No, I was talking about me. What a gracious host. So how many times did you drop out, Tania? No.
Very close to 1, but
Oh wow.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah. But no, did that degree and ended up getting a pretty sweet job. So yeah, enjoying it.
But we were talking about the job before, and I imagine there'll be much more video store chat in today's episode. But we were kind of, I almost felt like we were rubbing it in Stefan's face a little bit, but like not until we were just talking about it. And he said, "This sounds like the best job ever," and it was really the best job.
Oh,
it really was.
Yeah. I can only imagine how fun that job would have been. Here I am, just slaving away.
Every time I sort of bring it up in convo, Steph's like,
I wish.
I was close. Those 2 resumes and Blockbuster was close as I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really, really good times. A lot of fun times, a lot of good chats, and just great bands, good banter.
Good bands. I was about to say I'm not particularly nostalgic, but if I wasn't, I wouldn't have this podcast. But I think like in terms of moments in my life, I don't really look back too much, and not because I'm not sentimental, but I just kind of like I've never really grown up, which listeners of this show will know, and you've learned in the last hour I don't really grow up, but like that is one, and and I've been very fortunate. Like I've met my wife, and like she's just like the most amazing person I've ever met, and I've got this wonderful daughter, and like I've got a great job and stuff like that. But I do, if there's anything I kind of, when they talk about the good old days, there's not really much in my rear view that I think of as a good old days, but those, like that job was, that would be the one thing I would change. I was like, if there's a way to make it financially sensible to work in a video store, that would probably be the best job in the world still.
Oh, totally. Imagine what it'd look like these days, though, if you had something set up. I always kind of think about that. Imagine if those stores actually still did exist, but very nichey. Like obviously you wouldn't have them to that degree in those many stores back in the day. But I wonder if there would be that demand for physical, for renting. Obviously a lot of the stuff's now streaming.
It's all streaming now. It's sad.
Yeah, if you follow me, you know how I feel about streaming. I don't preach a lot of hate, but I'm very vocal about streaming. I just got an email today from Disney Plus that they were jacking up my price again.
Yeah,
I was like, I knew this would happen. You stopped printing DVDs in Australia, and within 2 years, there's been 4 price hikes. You monsters.
That's why I keep every time we're at the store, I'm always just trying to go into JB, seeing what's out, get my physical.
Yeah, nice
copies. It's just
hard. Good to have. And those days where the internet's just down, I mean, like, what do you do?
Well, I know what I do. I remember this has become a bit of a joke in the house now. Like whenever like the internet goes down, or like during the pandemic when everyone was using the internet at once.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh man, it must suck to not have DVDs, huh? She's like, very good. Like,
praise to that.
Knew it'd come in handy after all these years. Thank goodness.
I think that's why my garage kind of looks like a video store. I just can't let go of that era. I'm like, I'll just do it. And it literally is. Like I remember my niece is 15 years old, and which is crazy to me because I remember when she was like this. For the listeners at home, I mimicked a baby shape because I realized this is not a visual medium. And I was showing off the garage to my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law because they're quite into movies as well. They've been on the podcast a bunch. And at one point, my niece walked in and she just started browsing. Just looked at it like she was in a library, and I just kind of stood back for a second. I had like this little smile, and I kind of like elbowed my sister-in-law. I was like, "Look," and she's like, "I know." I'm like, "It's like she's in a video store," and she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's the point." Like, like my poor kid's going to be the weirdo at school because she's going to be talking about watching movies on a disc, and they're all going to be talking about you cave person. Go back, get some uranium and go back to 1940.
Uranium.
Yeah, plutonium. It was plutonium, wasn't it? I should know that. They're like, have you hooked up your flux capacitor? And I'll be like, for someone who's been making fun of my daughter for owning DVDs, you know a lot about Back to the Future.
I love how you're thinking about stories that just haven't even happened, James. I mean, you're already prepping yourself for those combos, which is great because you're really prepared for it, to be honest.
If I'm constantly having the conversation with myself, then I'm never alone with my thoughts. So, it's... 100%.
100%. I did have a thought the other day, and it was about the floppy disk.
Yes.
Go back, obviously. I'm not going to say that there are any movies on a floppy disk, but maybe they were saved.
No,
that's way too.
I don't know if they even handled something like that, but definitely games from them. And that's a memory I have back in the days. Copying Doom. Floppy disk and playing that as definitely under 10 years old, probably like 6 or 7 or something like that.
Quite a few.
And I remember, and we're similar. I've got a couple of years on you, which I feel like I'm saying more and more to people as I get older. A couple of years on you. But I remember in school having like the floppy ones that actually would bend and stuff. Like you'd get the.
That's old. Yeah,
I remember the smaller ones. The compact.
3.5 inch. You could cock it and load it like a gun. That's about as weaponized as we get here in Australia. Die Hard to be very different. He was just armed with a bunch of floppies, just like.
Oh, bloody hell.
man.
That's great. Just
Yeah.
goes to show
Times have changed.
the media and all the stuff that we've seen in our generation, which has been cool.
And then now we got streaming. Like, what's next?
What is next?
What would be next?
It's so strange. Like, it's interesting, like, because I never had the issue like working in a video store, going to a video store. I remember the last video store I went to was in Taylor's Lake, so it was Video Busters, and it was like the Taylor's Lake shopping center.
Yes, I remember that.
That became our go-to.
And they had Blu-rays. Like they had Blu-rays. They were the only video store I knew that had Blu-rays. Was before I hadn't bought Blu-ray yet, and I still wasn't like I was buying a lot of physical media, but I was like, I need the new thing. DVDs are fine. And then like I bought Blu-ray. I was like, ugh, DVDs.
What do you feel about 4K?
I do. Well, I don't have a 4K player, but I will like. So when I was in the UK just recently, there are a couple of movies I was trying to track down, and there are some movies that aren't available. A lot of movies that aren't available in Australia at all, and there was some available in the UK, but they were only available in a 4K Blu-ray double pack. So like Hook, which I'd never seen. I'd never seen Hook. I know. I've seen it now, and it was magical, and it was amazing. So I bought that on a 4K. The Patriot, not available in Australia currently. It was only available on 4K, so I got that.
Is that the Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And there was something else I bought, but there were a couple I was like, I have to get the 4K. So I do have a few 4Ks. But I will upgrade. I'm thinking, like I was saying to my wife last year, I said, next year I'm going to get a PS5. And she's like, do you need one? I'm like, no, but I do want one. Like I haven't bought a console in a while. And our child is almost old enough where, you know, like she already starts playing video games with me. She's been playing Super Nintendo with me this week a little bit, so that's been kind of fun. Yeah, because I've still got the original console from when I was a kid. Like it still works, so like we'll play like games on that. But I was like, I was like, I want to upgrade, then I can watch my 4K movies. And she's like, well, it's your money, and I'm like, it is my money, thank you. Like my bills are always paid. Like we've always got groceries, so I can buy stupid stuff like turning like 2 recliners that I bought yesterday, like dumb stuff. But I got so distracted, which happens on this show and happened for about an hour and a half before we recorded.
So sorry.
You were saying you're talking about streaming, and I don't know why, but when I was working in the video store or visiting the video store, I was never the person who like I didn't mind spending 3 hours looking at spines. Like that was fine. I'm like, let me look at it. I'll choose. You know, I'll curate. If it takes me all night, I'll curate my perfect rental list. But if I do it on streaming, it annoys me. I'm wasting a night. I could just watch something. So I kind of like, I remember my wife and I would have fights where like we've been scrolling for 2 hours. It's now too late to watch a movie.
Absolutely. That happens to us all the time. And the only thing that really bothers us is we'll spend like, you're right, 2 hours streaming and looking for a movie. We'd finally select one, a new movie that came out, and it is horrible. Like it's a horrible movie, and thank God for IMDb.
And this is the issue I have with Steph, I reckon, is that there will be a movie that I'll probably want to watch that I have heard good things about, you know, been on my radar to watch, but he will go to IMDb before he agrees to watch it with me.
It's a way to do it.
And
I used to do that. I've changed. I've documented my change since the beginning of the podcast. That's why the podcast exists. But I get it. I used to be like that.
You know what I mean? I feel like it kind of ruins that whole, you know, idea. And getting everyone's opinions on movies these days, it's so varied. You know, everyone looks at a movie so differently. It resonates with people so differently too.
I think IMDb is a great tool, like to, you know, like for when you're like. For when you're having a moment, like if you're like me, and it sounds like you might be a bit Stefan as well, where you're like, I know the answer to every bit of trivia, but let me just double check with IMDb because I don't want to. It's great for that sort of stuff, but like I feel like IMDb has actually had like such a negative impact because people will be like, oh well, IMDb said it. It's the same as Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is not good.
I agree.
Because it's aggregate, like it's not a reflection. So that's just my opinion. Like people are welcome to disagree with me. That's fine because I'll recommend movies, but I'll always be like, but you know, do what you want. Don't agree with me. I feel like people it becomes this like kind of point of stigma. Oh well, they reviewed it poorly. I'm like, yeah, but like that's only been around for about 15 years. Like when you were a kid, you didn't get reviews. Everything was awesome. Like everything was awesome when you were a kid. And I've actually gone back to that a little bit now. I blind buy most of my movies. Like if I don't get to see it in theaters, I'll just blind buy it, and I'm like, see what happens. And like, and it's kind of fun not knowing what I'm getting myself into, like just kind of going in blind the way we used to in the video store. And I found like I've got a more positive. Well, clearly I've got a positive relationship with films in as much as I feel positively about them, but many would argue that it's some sort of crutch and addiction. So there's positive and negative there. But I quite like blind buying, and or if I do have to use streaming, because I'm part of the problem. I do have a lot of streaming services. I'll try to go in blind with them as well, so I can have a more, at the risk of sounding really snobby, like a more pure experience. Like, just go in, who cares? Like, see what happens. So
it's not a bad way of going about it. Yeah.
That's how we were even as kids. Like we went to the Blockbuster in Sunshine. I don't know if you ever went to that one, James. It was a big one.
no, I would have gone to the Blockbuster at Water Gardens. That would have been my one.
Okay. Well, that was Sunshine was ours for a while, and I remember going in there pretty much every Saturday, if not every second Saturday. And my dad would alternate the password for the membership card, and so when he'd go to the desk, and she's like, "Oh, well, you may want to look at changing your password. It's been about a month or two." It'd alternate between my brother's name and my name, and so that would excite us. Even just knowing that our name would be the password on a membership card was kind of cool, but. That's right. You'd go into those stores and you'd be like, well, you don't know much about the movies other than reading the back of the DVD or the VHS, case, and then that'll be it. You kind of hope it's a good watch.
But that said, I think movies these days are much more different in the way that filmmaking is.
Yeah,
I think they were much more. I don't know the way they were written. I don't know how you feel about that, and that's something that maybe we can discuss a bit later. I don't know, but
I do have a theory on, and I'm glad I like that you brought it up. We can talk about it now because I see it a lot. I'm almost saying I go on Reddit far too much, and like I get very angry about what people are saying because I'm like as you probably garnered from just talking today, and if you people follow my page, like I don't really have anything negative to say about movies, and like that doesn't mean that I love everything. There are films I don't love for sure, but I'm just like I'm not going to waste negative energy on anymore. Like I'm just going to focus. Like even the new Captain America film, it got panned by critics and everyone. I went and saw it. I'm like, yeah. Okay, the film they're telling me it could have been sounds amazing. We didn't get that film, but what did I love? You know what? I know it's dumb and childish, but I loved watching Cap fight Red Hulk. Like I've seen people fight a Green Hulk on screen before, but I haven't seen a Red Hulk. So I'm trying to I'll try and find
the positives.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in terms of what you're saying, I don't think it's changed as much as people think. That's because people are like, oh, films aren't the way made, as good as they were in the old days. And I was like, no. Like there have always been bad movies. Like since someone picked up a camera for the first time, like the first film ever made was a guy shooting footage of a train. Some guy didn't have access to a train. It's like, I don't know, just like pull that cart for like 20 seconds. Like there's going to be like a cheap imitation, like from the dawn of filmmaking. It's just that the scope is so much larger now. Like, and I think streaming has such a negative impact on that because they just dump so much stuff on it. They're like, as long as we have membership, just keep creating original content. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, Netflix is guilty of it all the time. Like, they make those mum thirst trap Christmas movies.
There are so many of those.
Hallmark. Like, there's an audience for it. So, like, whilst it's not really my jam, like I watched, my wife came after me pretty hard. I watched Hot Frosty last year. She was like, let's watch this one. And when I reviewed it, I threw her under the bus, and she was like, you were not kind to me at all. So, I had to apologize later. Like I'm not the audience for that film, but I just think as we continue to enter this world, as the world of film continues to expand, we have more niche genres, and there's going to be more niche filmmakers, and everyone's going to find their own groove. Like it's not like a world of the one blockbuster anymore. The one disappointing thing is that in chasing that $1 billion box office, because that's what changed everything. Like suddenly you can make $1 billion at the box office, right? Let's assemble those Avengers. Like let's see if we can chase it. And I love that. That's great. But we've lost the $30 million J-Lo rom-com. Like I don't need another J-Lo rom-com, but like you used to get that. You get your Kate Hudson like rom-com. You get these smaller films. They weren't independent films, but they weren't big budget films. They're just kind of like, like it's you get like a low budget action film made on a shoestring, and like and it seems to be it's either independent, which is fantastic, Blumhouse just producing 20 horror films a year, or like people chasing the $1 billion budget. And like obviously COVID didn't help, but I feel like all those films we used to love, like those weird smaller ones, they're all find themselves on streaming services, and they're not getting the spotlight that they used to get in the theater.
Totally. Well, money's changed a lot.
A
lot in the industry. So especially with the comic book movies and that whole universe, and there's a lot of stories to tell. which means a lot more money is being put into that, and they've got the fan base too. So
yeah, absolutely, and that doesn't seem to be going away. Like because it like. Even like because that's the thing, like people are like Marvel sucks now. I'm like they're still clearing hundreds of $1 million every time. They can't suck that much. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
Like that being said, like I'll be first in line opening weekend for Fantastic Four. That film looks incredible. Like,
have you seen the trailer for that?
I haven't,
it looks good. It looks very good.
All I know is the guy from Stranger Things is part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's.
I wish I knew his name.
And the guy from The Bear.
Yeah, Ebon. He's got a multi-hyphen name, and I always get it wrong. But he's from The Bear, and he was also in the Punisher TV show at one point as well.
He was, yeah.
And you got Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and Joseph Quinn. He was
Joseph Quinn.
Eddie.
Yeah.
I was like David Harbour. Like he's in the other. But you're right. There's two Stranger Things people.
No, the other guy. Yeah.
David Harbour actually would have been a really good casting for the thing. Actually, now I think about it,
absolutely.
But he did Hellboy, so he's like, "What? I'm going to put makeup again?" Like,
pass the baton to someone else. I didn't know that he was Hellboy though.
Just in one movie.
One.
Right, because who was the other one?
There's three. So you had
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman in the 2000s in the Guillermo del Toro ones. Then we had in 2019 David Harbour, and it was directed by the director Neil Marshall, who did The Descent, which is one of my favorite horror films of all time. Yep. And then last year, Hellboy: The Crooked Man was Jack Kersey, I think, played Hellboy.
So I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's the Perlman for me.
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. This is not normally how I start podcasts, but we just got stuck in. No, this is great. This is great. It's awesome. We just got like on a whirlwind. It's awesome.
See, first time on a podcast, so
first time.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to stop it. I'm like, let's just see where it goes. But like, I was going to ask because Tania, I know a little bit about your background, having worked together, and we will talk about as well. But because Stefan, this is the first time we really meet, I'm really interested to know like. You're clearly a movie fan. Like you're dropping deep cuts. Like you're dropping some big knowledge stuff. So where does it begin for you? Like have you been a fan of movies since you were a kid? Like did you find it later in life? Clearly you were a video store kid. All three of us were video store kids.
Yes.
Some of us more than others. Like don't mean to rub it. That's the only time I'll do it.
It's your show, James.
It's your show. It's your show.
No. I'm so not mean spirited, but like Tanya made the joke before. I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity to tag up on that. So where does it begin?
Yeah. Well, I have always been into movies. Always, like as a kid, I'll always remember, and I very regularly talk to Tanya about this. Is that movies has basically shaped who I am as a person. I know that sounds completely weird, and
not to me.
So, it is so important in my life personally. It's because when I was a kid, my brother used to watch movies and not really too much TV shows, but he was a really big Bond fanatic, James Bond, and my family and all were as well. And I kind of just grew into like broadening my horizon in what I'm watching, you know, like, but I also used to like it kind of made me, like, as I said, it shaped who I was, but I don't know, like I always tell Tanya this, like I watched Edward Scissorhands for the first time when I was like, I don't know, 6 years old or something. Like watching Edward Scissorhands when you're 6 is like horrifying, but that taught me all about manners. Like Edward Scissorhands comes across as this gentle dude, like he's so weird looking, but he has like so much respect for others, and he's just so like well mannered and everything. And I learned so much, and I always remember that.
I think it's a layering in the films as well, because you see Edward Scissorhands and you think, oh, geez, it's a bit of a scary, like a bit of a horror flick type stitch. She's in this bondage situation.
Scissors for fingers.
What am I watching? But I think Steph, he probably peels it back like a few, 100 layers and sees it for what it is. And I think you've always mentioned like some of the respect things, like
like even Disney movies, like one of my favorite Disney movies. And I tell my because I'm a teacher, I tell my students this all the time. Beauty and the Beast is one of my all-time favorite movies. Storytelling in that is fantastic, but it also teaches kids, taught me all about respect and you know, like all that stuff. Yeah, just borderline manners, respect for others, and just being a kind human.
Yeah.
But yeah, it started as a really young age, at a young age, and yeah, I just got better and
broaden your horizons. Yeah, you podcast nerd, man. Really good with films, like it's okay, Bar. You got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. Yeah. So and I've just always loved my movies. So.
Yeah, nice. So it starts there, and then obviously video store becomes a big deal. We talked about that quite a bit up front, and then I know for a lot of people from our generation, but we are similar in age, for me, the big thing was like when I became a teenager, I'm like, oh, now I get to choose. I get to pick my own things at the theater. I get to go to the cinema and choose what I'm watching. So was that kind of that rite of passage for you? Does it enter kind of that teen socializing when you start dating and stuff, or is it more a private thing just for you? Like, how does it kind of evolve from there? Sorry, Tania, we're going to ask about girls before you. No, I'm just kidding.
Very nice.
Tania's like, he just talked about respect. Why would you ask that question?
No, it's not even a bad question.
I'm just talking about movies. It's all good.
Yeah, this is great. But no, it's just like it's more personal. It's more of a personal thing. Sorry. Our plant just fell.
Oh no!
Sorry, mate.
I'm not just offending people. I'm offending the flora as well.
No, this is mostly just a personal love for me. Like the more movies I watch, and the more I learn. You know what I mean? Like going pretty deep. I lost my dad when I was 11 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
No, it's okay. But movies, and especially this one particular movie that really I hold really dearly to me is I don't know if you've seen it, What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams.
I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's an absolutely brilliant movie. It just it shows what like life after death and everything. And watching that as a 12-year-old, like it really just makes you realize, makes you connected.
Yeah.
So it's more personal. It's more of a personal love for me. Whereas,
But I also think you had a lot of influence, like even in your family. Like, and this is the thing with Steph, he comes from a really big family, whereas it's really always been just my brother and I for, in our little kilo, but but his family is massive. Like his mum has 10 siblings, his dad has 10 siblings, and
that's a big family.
They
massive
all had
family.
cousins around the same age, and I think one of the massive things between them all was sort of movies. And whenever I seem to catch up with any of the other guys, I'll be like, actually, do you remember that time about the Bond flick, or like that Mrs. Doubtfire, or what other films?
We used to watch heaps. Beverly Hills Cop, all the classics. Eddie Murphy.
Stuff.
It's interesting, you mentioned Mrs. Doubtfire, because you just told such a sweet story, like a really lovely story about how What Dreams May Come kind of was your kind of helped you in that moment. When my parents divorced when I was about the same age, about 13 years old, that was Mrs. Doubtfire for me. Like that was kind of like that was my became a coping mechanism. And I haven't probably watched it in about 15 years, probably more actually now, because it's tied to such a
it's hard. It would be hard,
but like that ending, just like it's so heartbreaking, but also like inspirational, and like kind of like it gives you hope. And it's got this kind of like and like looking back, and now it's been a while, like if I watched it now, like Robin Williams' character in Mrs. Doubtfire is not a good dad. Like he's actually he's kind of a menace, but like at that time, like it was so it's very like, so I just sorry, you just had that sweet story, and I like it's interesting we actually both have that connection to Robin Williams as well, because it was that Robin Williams film.
Yes. And that's why movies hold such a deep connection to a lot of people and how we react. Like I'm sure if you guys watched What Dreams May Come, you wouldn't think of it
I think every movie has that connection to some part of your life, and some movies are a lot more like closer to you than others because, you know, they have a lot of feeling or a lot of emotion. And I think that's what we probably
ties into your experience, like with yourself and Mrs. Doubtfire. Like it ties into those sort of scenarios that you're probably going through in your life. So
what I'm hearing, guys, is we need to make a movie together. Like that's what we have to.
Mate, I legit.
She's actually really good. She's really good. I'm
not even gonna kid, but I am kind of a great storyteller. And not just any stories, it'd be horror stories. Weirdly enough, because I don't love them nearly as much as maybe a comedy style or drama story. But legit, sometimes in bed I'd be like, you know what, Steph? Like I'm still awake. I'm like, let me tell you a horror film, like a horror story. And he'd be like, no. And I'm like, nah, you have to listen to this because like I don't know what it is, but your mind just ends up like creating this whole like scenario / universe, this stupid thing, but it came out so perfect and you were so horrified by it.
I was scared.
So honestly, I feel like I could help.
All right, we'll get each other's details afterwards. We've got each other's details. I don't know why I said that.
James is like, you're never getting a call, mate.
Well, let's jump to you, Tania, because again, obviously I worked with you for so long, but as we talked about before the recording and during, like all I really did was make your life difficult. So where does it begin for you? Like I know you said like you just kind of chanced your way into the video store job. Like you was like, oh, I'll try this video store. But like, are you pre that job? Are you a movie kid? Are you a video store kid? Or is it not something that's really on your radar? Like where does that love really begin for you?
I think it's the video store kid. For sure. And to be honest, it probably came from my dad at the end of the day because, you know, he would be the one that would drag us those Saturday nights, you know, those Friday nights to the local video store to rent your overnighter, maybe a 3-day, you know, rental, something that'll go for a week.
1 year release and 4 weeklies or something.
What a great primo deal was on at the time. My dad would totally be on it. And I reckon, if anything, that's probably where it sort of started. And, you know, we'll probably talk about like your top 5 or the top 5 films for both Steph and I. And so a lot of that will come from that nostalgia and the nostalgia of going into a video store. So maybe a no-brainer dropping in my resume, you know, as that work experience kid at, how old was I? 15, 16 or something at the time. Just fortunate enough that, you know, Chris said yes. Or was it Chris? No, David. David said yes. And we got to work with you. So.
I mean this in the nicest way possible. I hope they didn't let that kid make any business decisions. Like he was a sweet guy, but
that's what I remember you saying.
He's never gonna find this podcast. But if he does, he's a lovely dude. But like if he was involved in business decisions, then it closing down makes a lot more sense. That might be the meanest thing I've ever said in the podcast, and I was just mean to Steph before. I need to rein it in. That's horrible.
You must have brought some memories back from that time, James. I don't know.
I liked him. I liked him quite a bit. Like he was, you know, he was an interesting guy for sure, and he wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I liked him. He was nice enough. And they were so generous to me giving me that job. So you know, I should be nicer, but don't make him your business manager. I can't not like. All right, cool. And so it sounds like since meeting Stefan, like the love of it has grown.
Oh, completely, and it's like you can't really pinpoint it. I think it's just that he enjoys it so much. And I think he'll have like his general rotation of films as well, which kind of become my rotation of films because I'm around and I, you know, get to see it and watch bits of it. So to be honest, I'm more of like a general sort of watcher, but I think since knowing Steph, it's been, a lot more different. And I feel like I'm a bit more maybe picky and choosy with my movies and maybe what actors I want to see or
because I do remember the time when Tania
just ratings in general. I know it's a bad thing, but at the same time I do want to watch a good flick and not feel disappointed investing two hours or so of my life in something that I kind of want that time back. But no,
and as we know, time is not refundable, so
that'd be nice. But that'd probably be it at the moment. So really whatever he's kind of into, I'd probably be into as well. And he's probably watched some of my films that he probably hasn't seen before, probably more so in the I don't know, the
Comedy,
rom-com
yeah.
type switch.
What's that?
To be honest,
Wedding Crashers. I never watched before.
no, it's just random.
That was a hot rental. That was a big one.
That was a primo, like that was a great, and it still is.
That one and Meet the Fockers were huge.
Oh.
And every single customer was like, it's not pronounced Fockers. Like, we can just swear in the video store. And I was like, come on, guys. Like, there are kids here. Like,
oh my God.
Fantastic.
Say it with me. Like, no. I'm like, that was the line I drew. But like, meanwhile, here's Rage Against the Machine playing. Like, just such a hypocrite.
Totally true. I remember Wedding Crashers being such a hot movie at the time. Like people wanted to book that in advance.
It's crazy that is like pretty much Bradley Cooper's debut. Like I'm sure he did little things before, but that was his like first big role.
Was it really?
He's the villain in that movie.
Oh yeah. But I was thinking like, was he in anything before that? But no,
I'm sure he would have done bits and pieces, but I think that's his big breakout. And then of course Hangover happens 4 years later.
Yeah. That was huge.
I remember seeing that in theaters. Like I wasn't even meant to go to the movies. Like my brother was going to the movies with his friends, and I was hanging out with my mate, and I was like, "Do you want to tag along? We'll just go into different seats, and we'll go see the movie as well." I'm like, "This is amazing." I haven't seen Hangover probably in about 15 years as well, so I'm sure there are some jokes that have aged poorly. Like
100%.
Yeah, poorly, but still gettable and still
holds
really
up.
funny.
Still, yeah, fantastic movie. Fuck film.
So movie is obviously very important to both you, specifically you, Stefan. So I assume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, first date, or at least during the early stages of you guys dating, cinema's got to be a part of it. Do you remember what the first movie was that you saw together?
I think our first date was us going to the movies.
Yeah.
What movie was that?
Was this in
Melbourne Central?
Melbourne Central.
Yeah, what movie was it?
I befriended this girl on the train, James, because I was like really scared about where the train was headed. I was like, I'm going to the city, specifically Melbourne Central. Is that where you're headed? She's like, me too. And I was like, oh, fantastic. You know, I've got a friend on the train. I get off the train with this girl, and then Steph's like, is that your friend? Like, are we meant to be, is this like a three, is she like third wheeling this day? And I'm like, no, I just met her on the train because I was unsure where this was headed. It was that day.
It was.
But what did we end up watching?
Oh, for the life of me, I can't remember.
It's a good year for film, 2010. You got Social Network. That's not a very good first date film, but it's a good film.
Was it 2010? It was 2010.
No, it was 2010. Probably like around.
Yeah, Inception. You got some good stuff.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Definitely wasn't Inception.
And that's also not a good first date film for a number of reasons.
I mean, can't discount it. It's a good film, but honestly, it must have been one of those that just wasn't that great. That's why I can't remember it. But yeah, they would have been something though, for sure.
I'm just gonna quickly see what was out.
Just pick a movie for you.
It was probably. No, it wasn't that. No.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess before we were recording, you did say that you guys don't really remember your anniversary, so I should have asked. Why'd I ask such a sentimental question?
I do remember my first train to Melbourne Central though, so that was
well, you were frightened for your life. You know, you never forget those near-death experiences riding the train to a distant suburb.
That just went one way, by the way. It didn't have to go. I didn't have to get off anywhere.
Yeah, it's called the City Loop. Guess where that goes?
Oh, I suck, honestly. Oh, look, it would have been something random.
Yeah, I think it was something like my guess.
Maybe Twilight or something.
No, it was either Shutter Island.
Ooh.
Or True Grit.
What in the no chance am I watching that with you on the no.
I'm pretty sure.
So. Oh, look, who knows, James?
It wasn't like an Iron Man 2 or something? Like that was in 2010?
Nah, I think it was something just random. And if we can't remember it, honestly, it wouldn't have been great. No.
Because I know my first date was Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
That was that's when people like come after, I'm like, it wasn't all that bad. You know, I met my wife for that movie.
Yeah.
No,
that's nice. Like, I remember Steph because, I remember when we first met, and obviously it's not movie related, but Yeah, that one clearly hasn't stuck with us. The first flick.
There you go. Well, I'll ask you another personal movie question. This is less about your relationship. So I feel like I'm definitely getting close to a line here. One of my favorite questions I like to ask is about the gift of film. You were talking before about how personal film is to you, Stefan, and you mentioned as well, Tania, how personal like film recommendations can be. So have either of you in your life had that gift, where someone's brought you a film and like, oh my God, like I've never thought of this film, never heard of it. Someone's brought it to me like, hey, I know you're going to love this film. And then like it kind of, it's a big question, kind of changed your life. Like if you had like one of those moments where like a film's been gifted to you from someone else.
Gifted to me from someone else.
So, for example, I've had a couple in my life. The first was when I was about 6 years old. My dad showed me the Blues Brothers. Way too early to see the Blues Brothers, but like then like put me on this path to like SNL and John Belushi and comedy. And then I've talked about on this podcast, people are gonna get bored of it. But when I was 16 years old, a girl in my class showed me Clerks, and that literally changed my life. So, two films I never would have found on my own, and then like seeing them both like changed the course of my life both times. So it doesn't have to be as dramatic as that, but like
that's a great example. I have got one, but it is fairly nostalgic. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably, it was really hard to put it on my top 5 list. But have you seen The Wizard?
The Wizard.
Yes, 1989's The Wizard with Fred Savage.
I don't think I have.
That's a Wizard t-shirt.
I should have worn my Wizard t-shirt. I should have worn it.
Is that the one with Mark Hamill?
No.
He was in Wizards, which is different. It was an animated film. It was okay.
This one is basically about just two brothers. They go on a road trip to get to California for a video game competition, and it's basically the introduction of like the Nintendo.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about. I do know that. Okay, I have heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Okay.
So that movie is awesome, like brilliant. But yeah, sure, it has its flaws for the time it came out, but it's only come to my attention probably about a few months ago is that a lot of scenes were cut from it. And I've actually had a chance to look at those deleted scenes. And it would have been an absolute like phenomenal movie had those scenes been in there, but they were cut to make it more marketable.
Yeah, sure.
And everything. But yeah, that movie is probably one of my gifts because we went to the video store. My brother chose it, and it ended up being probably one of my all-time favorites.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you're really close with your brother. You've brought him up a couple of times now. So you have that bonding over film, bonding, no pun intended, and bonding over just film in general. That's really cool. I like that. And what about you, Tania? Has anyone kind of sorry, have you had a similar experience? Has someone kind of introduced to a film that had a huge impact? It might even be Stefan. Like you mentioned that your life has, kind of been more open to film since being him. Has you had a similar experience?
Look, I can't draw on a particular movie, but if I was maybe talk about a theme or a movie fight, perhaps, then maybe my dad. Like I think he's got a really deep love for a good sci-fi, and I don't think I would be as interested in sci-fi today if it wasn't without my dad, to be perfectly honest. And I think they've always just been a bit of a mix of films in that space that I wish I can recall, off the top of my head. But like the fifth, there you go, Fifth Element to a degree. I 100%. My parents actually love that movie. To be honest, and I watched that so many times.
It's brilliant.
I think that was the first time you and I had a conversation, Stefan, because I posted up a review and then we were like, oh, what about this?
I think that was it. I think it was that movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'd watched it for the first time in a long time. I bought it on Blu-ray last year while I was overseas, and I was like, man, this flick rocks.
It's awesome. It's a great movie.
And you don't have to like apologize. You're like, Wizard doesn't kind of hold up, that much. Like you're talking to a guy who unapologetically owns and watches the '93 Super Mario Brother movies regularly.
It's a great movie. I'm on that boat too. Like I love that movie. A lot of people criticize that movie a lot. And the writing, it's
look, they clearly never played the video game. They saw the box art and like Turtles. Plumber's done. Like, it doesn't matter if Toad is 7 foot tall. Like,
the complete opposite of what it should
yeah.
be. But yeah, I think it had a lot of production fails. There was a lot of chefs in the kitchen for that movie.
It took them 30 years, but they redeemed it. I adore that animated. I think the animated one like really captures the spirit of what I wanted a Mario film to be.
Super Mario.
Yeah.
You know what?
We never got to finish it.
And I know that's linked with Nintendo.
Mm.
But we were never a Nintendo household. We were always
I think this podcast is over, so I'm not.
Hey, man, I'll never forget PlayStation 95 and Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Anyway, side thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, that Crash Bandicoot movie was pretty.
Oh, I never watched it.
No, there is none. Mario got a couple, Sonic got a couple, but yeah. Wow, I'm being really mean tonight. Like, I'm sorry.
No, hold up. Wait a sec. What about Tekken? There has been a Tekken movie.
There have been Tekken movies.
I've got that. Yeah, I have got it. There is. Yeah. Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
brilliant.
That new one. We got to see that trailer soon, man. I'm very excited for
that. I'm very excited. See, yeah.
Tomb Raider. Lara Croft.
Yeah. Tomb Raider's had a few. Yeah.
PlayStation. No.
Yeah, I know. I was just being a jerk.
Hey man, if you want to talk facts here.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, the PlayStation movies have probably been the most successful out of all of them. They've probably done quite well. So, yeah, I was just being a jerk. So. I was like, yeah, that's right. Like tapping solos. Let's make fun of Tania. It's been 20 years. Gonna dust out these cobwebs.
Yeah, it's the worst actually. I distinctly remember this, James. Very well.
Like, oh, hang on, I didn't like him. That's why it's been 20 years.
It's all coming back. Yes. Him and his tapping solos on the footstool, man. Was it a footstool that was behind the counter? I can't remember.
Yeah, or it was the edge of the return box. It was one of the two. Walking in with my sneakers and my flared jeans.
Yeah, they were definitely way too long as well.
That hasn't changed, unfortunately. No flares anymore, but still way too long.
Lift up leg. What about these? Talking about these? They're actually coming back, the flares.
They're everywhere.
I know.
That's it, James. You got to bring it back.
Oh man. Oh, that's so fun. I don't have the physique for it anymore, man.
I think we need to see you in the flares.
Yeah, mate. Don't sell this up short.
I think the listeners need to see this. I think we need to put some drawing together to visually,
map it out. Yeah, map it out.
Oh my god, my face hurts. I haven't recorded in a while, and this is the most I've laughed on a recording while. Jeez. Oh man, that's good.
You're like, why did I get these comedians on here?
Yeah, that could have been my past job as a bit of a comedian.
100%.
Who knows? Our child maybe will become one.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
We'll invest it in that one.
Let's get into your lists. I'm really excited. We've talked a lot in general, but let's talk about them. Yep. Well, I've listed you first, Tania, because I was like, well, I know her. So I put you first. Although I feel like in just like a couple of hours, I've really gotten to know Stefan. So I don't know if you've done them in any numerical order. If you had, fantastic. If not, no stress. But we'll just go 5 to 1. So Tania, what do you got first or fifth?
This is in no particular order, James. So Beetlejuice, I'll just start off with.
Nice.
Now I'll tell you a little bit of a story about this one. Now, obviously, this came out in what year, Steph?
88.
88.
Jinx.
So
before I was born. So I would have been definitely like 7, 8, 9, 10 around that time, maybe seeing it for the first time. But I also remember it being on TV, or at least maybe rented by my parents on occasion. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the scenes, the colors, the outfits, the story. Tim Burton's just like this weird, cool, wacky, like funky, just weird person. And I think that's what resonated with me, and it just sort of stuck with me. And I remember we moved from Footscray as a kid to Keilor Downs. And the plaza was in walking distance, obviously, to our house. So one day me and my mum ended up going to, I think, the Kmart back then.
Yes.
And I bought my first ever.
Which, by the way, is where Video Easy got their stock from. They didn't go through the Video Easy suppliers. They went to Kmart and bought it in bulk because it was cheaper. And spoiler alert, it's been 20 years. They didn't pay their fees.
Oh my god! So they didn't even set up the suppliers. Yeah, that store was legit set up to fail. 100%.
I feel like the statute of limitations is gone where I can't get in trouble for saying that at least. But yeah, I'll just blank it out if I have to.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did we really work?
Because David would come in like with a bag from Kmart. He's like, "Oh, we'll scan these in." I'm like, "That's X-Men: The Last Stand." Like, didn't you want to? Like, but they didn't deliver this week. He goes, "Nah, it's cheaper at Kmart."
I had no idea.
That's fantastic.
That's so bad. My parents we had an online toy store, my parents, and had it for 10 or so years, but I can't imagine them going to the local Toys R Us for their stock. But anyway.
Sorry, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah. So yeah, ended up walking to Kmart with my mum one rando day and bought my first ever DVD, which was Beetlejuice. But
you remember your first DVD? That's cool.
See, there you go. Yeah. I remember my first DVD, and I reckon I was about maybe 10 years old. So
all right, quickly, we're going to come back to Beetlejuice, but you remember your first DVD? What's your first? Stefan?
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, nice.
Wayne's World, yep. And
go on.
It was Wayne's World and Jamiroquai live in Verona.
Mine, my first DVD was two DVDs as well. I went to Electronics Boutique before it was called EB Games, and they used to sell DVDs, and they were $30 each because they were new technology, and it was The Matrix. Which I think is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool first one. Yep. And Evolution, the David Duchovny sci-fi film. Of course, every young boy's first movie should be Evolution. You know the one where they blow just kilograms, liters of shampoo up aliens' butts. Like, that's the movie.
I have to watch this again.
Is that Evolution with?
That's it.
And it's the alien
one.
And Sean William Scott.
And they're on a bridge, James. They're on a bridge and they've got aliens coming. Was it something else? I just remember this one scene from this random movie, and maybe it's that one.
The bridge and there's aliens coming to them.
Maybe?
I think so. And I saw it in theaters with my friends. It was on the first movie we saw together as teenagers without adult supervision. And we were so blown away by it, A, because of the graphics at the time, but because the teacher's name was Dr. Kane, and our first ever Year 7 teacher's name was Mr. Kane. And we were like, oh! So, even though it didn't mean anything. But we were just like, two Kanes!
This teacher would have been like confused.
We're like, did you get any shampoo on the weekend, mister? Like, because they use selenium to disable the aliens. Selenium head and shoulders. I was in that movie probably since I bought it on DVD. Like, I would have watched it twice. And I don't know if it holds up. It probably doesn't, but
I need to see it. I need to see it again.
I have to see the cake. Okay, I've just googled the word evolution. It's definitely not going to come up if I was to do that.
The poster was the four of them. It was David Duchovny, Sean Scott, Orlando Jones, and there was a crater, and it was a smiley face with three eyes.
Yes. And that's the film I'm talking about, because there was some weird bridge scene of some sort, Julianne Moore. Anyway, Julianne Moore, and Sean William Scott.
Yes. I need to watch that again. I need to watch it again.
They just in the UK, I didn't buy it while I was over there, but in the UK, I think Arrow just did a special edition anniversary Blu-ray release. So,
so it must be what 20.
It would have been 2001, so it would be 24 years old.
4 years old. Yeah.
You know that famous anniversary everyone celebrates, the 24th. Could have waited 1 year and then 25th anniversary.
Yeah, actually.
All right, sorry. You were at Kmart at the Plaza. You were buying Beetlejuice, your first DVD.
Well, yeah, it ended up being my first DVD. Yes. Mm-hmm. But the DVD, because it was such a high value, like expensive item, very limited in the copies that were in the store, was behind one of those really thick
Oh, the case.
Yeah.
Yes.
So super valuable, clearly. I remember taking it, having to go to the counter and be like, I want to pay for this. And like, yeah, sure, we'll have to get someone to actually get it out of the case. You can't keep the plastic case. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that's my memory of buying that film, but also just like watching it so many times since then. So
it's so funny, like how how 30 years it's changed. Like you had to get it unlocked, and then you go to JB, it's like stuffed under a shelf in a box, or like the packet's broken, like whatever. Like, but this precious jewel.
It was so precious, and I honestly thought I'd take the entire thing. And they're like, no, we need someone to open it for you. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So obviously that beckons the question. Beetlejuice, very important film to you, first one you ever bought, and you loved it for all these different reasons. Sequel comes out last year. Have you seen it? What are your feelings on it?
I have seen it. I have seen it, and I think this is probably where the nostalgic in me comes out more than anything. I think because in my mind, I was never going to get something the same, or and which is annoying for me knowing that. But look, it wasn't bad for what it is, and to get so many of us, the same cast members come back for the second and actually agree to it. Like I think that in itself is like great. At least we have a number 2 to go to. But at the same time, I probably feel like maybe the storyline wasn't as strong, or maybe lacked in certain bits where I was like, oh look, I don't know if that really needed to be in there. But look, it's tricky to follow on from the first movie, and I always thought, how would they go about making a sequel? In my mind.
So I didn't see the first Beetlejuice until about 3 years ago. It just was. I know. It just took me so long to watch it, and so when I watched it, so I enjoy and I really like the first Beetlejuice. Honestly, my least favorite part about the first Beetlejuice is Beetlejuice. He's quite an irritant, but I like the movie quite a bit. But I didn't have that emotional attachment. So when 2 came out last year, I was like, all right, cool. Well, the only reservation I had was they've cast Jenna Ortega, and she's an it girl right now. And I just hope like they don't make it the Jenna Ortega show. Like she's fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you're going to really disservice the story. And I was so pleased that yes, she had her own storyline, yes, she had her own thing, but it was definitely not her story. It was Winona Ryder's story. We're continuing on from that. I think like the bit where they lost me, and I still enjoyed it. Look, I don't really have anything negative to say, but I think where they did lose me a little bit was the kind of sandwiching in another musical number. I'm like, you're only really doing this because you had a musical number in the first one. We don't need.
I think you're playing a lot on the nostalgic part of it, and there are a lot of new characters that they didn't really delve into. Like I would have loved to see more of Beetlejuice's wife. I would have loved to see her part in the movie a lot more. And I think the first half was it the first half or the first?
I thought the first half was fine. It was great.
It was really like slow and dark, which
I
was.
Didn't mind it.
You didn't mind it?
No.
Okay.
See, I didn't mind.
I thought it was a bit.
I didn't really get the boyfriend storyline. I thought that was sort of just in there. Jenna Ortega's work.
I felt that was very much there just to give them a villain. They were like, because everyone had to have a villain in that movie. It seemed
every single character.
That's at least it didn't like. Cause I don't really subscribe to this belief, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, this remake or sequel ruined the original for me, and I'm like, what do you mean?
No.
What do you mean by that? Like how? Tell me how it ruined that film, because that film still exists and you can watch it and it hasn't changed. But some people get very angry about it. And I saw Stefan kind of go like, oh, that's true. I'm like, oh no, maybe he's one of those people. And I've just like made it.
I get very connected to movies, and I'm just like, well, if a movie sucks this bad, why make it? Like I am on that. I'm on that fence. Like I watch a movie. If it gets a sequel, make sure it's good. Make sure the writing is up to standard. Like match it to make it even better than the first.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of holes in the story. The writing's not as good. The dialogue's not as good. Like it's like, why even make it? That's my kind of.
Well, we know.
He's really butthurt because the Beverly Hills Cop 3 movie sucked. So four.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Axel F. My buddy Nick, who is one of the new co-hosts on the show, but he's been on the show quite a bit. He said, he goes, if you go in because he loves the Beverly Hills Cop franchise as well.
Yeah.
It's like if you go in knowing that it's just gonna be kind of more of the same, it's not gonna really do anything different or new. Like if you kind of go in that just knowing, hey, Eddie Murphy's kind of having fun for a couple of hours, you'll enjoy it. And that was kind of his review. And it's like, so like if you go in with that, like it's totally serviceable. You can have fun with it, but like don't look for too much growth or development. Like it's not really there. So
but if you are a fan like that, you've grown up watching these movies and you know every inch about this character, and then you go in and see part 4, like it's just playing on nostalgia, like even Coming to America too. Same.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either.
It's
and these are the films that I'm talking about with his cousins and Stefan.
My whole family, like we grew up on these movies,
Sister Act and all that.
So we've established that Beverly Hills Cop 4 is your number 5 movie.
Bottom 5.
Let's jump into it. What's number 5 on your list, Stefan?
Oh my god, number 5.
Oh, if you haven't ranked them, you can just choose one. Look, it's up to you.
Oh, one of them. Well,
if you ranked them, if you have them ordered from 1st to 5th, then you got to go in. That's cool. But if not,
geez, that's so hard. I can't. I don't think I'd be able to rank.
It is an unfair question.
It's
for sure.
so hard. But I've got, being a drummer. Yes. Whiplash is up there.
Oh my god. Yeah. I'm sorry. What a perfect movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I always just go back and just turn it on, play the beats just in my head. Like it's a fantastic movie. The writing, the music, the direction. I think the direction, like
I feel like it. I don't know why, but it seems to like be that one film that like every man has an instant connection with. Like I remember talking to a friend when it came out. She's like, "Are you gonna watch anything this week?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch Whiplash." And she's like, "My partner, he watched it and like immediately, this is the best film of all time." I was like, "All right, well, we'll see." And I watched it. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is one of the best films of all." And like every guy I speak to who's seen it is like, it's really? Like you know how like there's that thing online like men think about the Roman Empire. No, men think about Whiplash. Like we think about Whiplash, Lord of the Rings, and Back to the Future. Like that's what we think.
It's the Ben-Hur of like.
It's so good. And what I love about Damien Chazelle as a director is he's like, I'm going to make 2 films about the exact same thing with just very different attitudes. And because La La Land and Whiplash are basically about the same thing, just one is very positive and like builds towards something and is not toxic, and the other one is completely just shambles.
I love La La Land as well,
and actually and Babylon as well. I think Babylon is deeply misunderstood. I really like Babylon as well, but But Whiplash, oh my god, like what a perfect film. Like J.K. Simmons, like that's my perfect example. I'm like, that is like, whenever I argue that every film is a horror film, I go to Whiplash. I'm like, tell me that's not a horror film.
Tell me. Yeah. It's
like J.K. Simmons is the best horror monster of all time, and he's scary because that is a real guy.
It's
like
real.
That is a real guy, not my time. Like
100%.
Not my tempo.
Yeah, not my tempo. That's right. Sorry, yeah. Not my tempo.
So that's definitely in there for me.
So and Miles Teller, like I don't know, like I try to separate like art from artists. I know there's been some stuff like I think people can be difficult to work with something, but I think he's perfect in that movie, man. Like what an exemplary performance. Like, and he holds his own against J.K. Simmons, who's been doing it for at least 30 years longer than he has. Like
but his whole character development in the whole movie, like he starts off as this timid, shy little, drummer starting school, basically first year out, whatever. And then he just turns into this absolute beast of a drummer and just tells,
where to shove it.
Tell them where to shove it. and
that montage where you just said the blood on the skins, like because he's I'm
that like, solo at the end just blows my mind every time I watch it. It's just it's perfect.
And it's not a triumphant ending. Like it's actually like it's because like he got screwed royally. Like but it
makes sense. Like
it's almost like this mutual. It's like, look, I don't like you and you don't like me, but if we can shut up for a second, we can make something amazing. Like
totally. And just that ending, that the last 10 seconds of that movie is just wow.
It is honestly a more tense film I've watched than almost any horror film. Like when he gets hit by the car, and then he just gets up and he keeps running, and like he gets to and his hands are all like bleeding, and he's like bad. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so like nervous for this guy. Like
what's gonna happen next? Like he's trying so hard, but he just can't catch a break.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great film. Well, now I need to watch Whiplash this weekend.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah. I've never watched on the big screen before, so I'll have to whack it into, I'll wait till we get the chairs and then I'll.
Oh, yes.
Oh man. And I'll have a heart attack because I'll be so stressed out. But what a great flick that is.
Great.
Oh man, starting strong too. Strong starts. What's number 4 for you, Tanya?
Oh man, okay. I'll just pick one. I didn't put them in order. Let's go. Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada is a great movie.
Yeah, it's just one of those really easy films that honestly you can just have on any time in the background, to be perfectly honest. But I absolutely love like Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep,
Emily Blunt.
One of her first roles. I can't.
Yeah, definitely.
Days. So, but all like the dresses, the clothes, everything about that whole scene is just like great, and it's a lot of fun as well, I think.
It's really interesting that you've brought in Devil Wears Prada right after talking about Whiplash, because I would argue very similar.
Of course.
Like, it's very similar character. Like, she starts like severing friendships. You kind of leave. I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time. The last time I watched that film was I was dating a different girl, because she chose it. And I was like, Devil Wears Prada, and then I was like, this is amazing. Like, she like is with that played by Simon Baker, she's with that guy, and like she kind of sacrifices that relationship for her career. And there's the whole Emily Blunt thing where they're rivals and they're kind of friendly. And then and the Tooch, Stanley Tucci. Oh my god,
of course.
I'm pouring out a glass of wine for Stanley Tucci at the moment. Did not get an Oscar nod, which is devastating. He was great. Conclave. He's really
Conclave.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
But
no, you're absolutely right. It's very similar.
Yeah, probably I didn't really notice that.
I didn't really notice that.
Like, thanks for ruining Devil Wears Prada.
I didn't want to think about Whiplash, man.
It was romantic, and now it's sad.
Yeah, romantic and relationships, but also the clothes. I think I love the clothes more than anything else. Is just seeing that. Yeah, because you just don't. Yeah. Anyway, so that's in my list.
And how good, like, seeing Meryl Streep play a villain. Like, it's so rare.
She does so well. And I have another film.
Yeah, that's another one.
Where she's in. That's also in my top 5.
Oh, nice. She's one of those performers where she's almost like the Citizen Kane of actors, where you're like, we get it, she's great, but we can talk about someone else. And then you see her in anything, you're like, no, she needs to stay in the conversation. Like, she's been in I don't know if you guys watch Only Murders in the Building, the Disney Plus series.
We watched season 1.
Season 1, and that's as far as we got.
Yeah, so she shows up in one of the later seasons, and I was like, oh, Meryl's doing comedy, and I guess she's probably done it, but I didn't think like Devil Wears Prada.
Have you seen her on the SNL? 50?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's just such a versatile actor. Like, you see her in so many roles, whether she is the villain or the person that's been taken advantage of. What's that one we watched where they're sailing down some rapids?
Series of unfortunate events.
No, the rapids.
The rapids. River Wild.
River Wild. I don't know.
I haven't seen River Wild, but I have seen Series of Unfortunate Events, and she's great in that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
she's great in everything. But yeah, look.
Everything.
Anyway, so yeah. Great.
Nice. When you said River Rapids for a second, I thought of Wind River, which is a very different film.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Olsen. And it's not a fun. It's a great movie. It's not a fun movie. Ty Sheridan, I think, did that one.
No, I haven't seen.
Oh man, like, it's not like it is. It has some unpleasantness for sure, but it's so worth your time. Like, it's like
I've seen it. I've seen it on the streaming.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So number 4 for you, Stefan.
Anyway, your turn.
Sorry,
your turn. Number 4. Sorry, I was so like.
Team 2 as well.
All right. Well, number 4. Well, Stir of Echoes.
Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen Stir of Echoes.
Oh, mate.
James.
get onto it.
Oh, look, I've seen thousands of movies, but it will shock you, like what I haven't seen. Like I didn't see any of the Terminator films until late into my 20s. Like because I was raised in a very strict household. There was no like violence, cursing, not allowed. Naked women, fine.
Yeah.
10 years old, naked women, go for it. But violence and cursing.
Striptease fine.
My dad's priorities were very strange. I called him out on an episode once. I'm like, you would never let us watch cursing, but just shirtless girls. He was like, yeah. He's like, it was more for me than it was for you. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Fair enough. At least he's honest. They just announced, I think it's either come out or it's coming. I think they're doing a big old collector's edition for Stir of Echoes coming out in Australia pretty soon, actually. They're doing
because I bought the Blu-ray probably last year. But if there's a limited edition coming out, I'll be the first to buy that. Funny story with that movie because my dad took me to see that when it came out, 9. And
that seemed. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I did not sleep for months.
Look, it's a pretty scary flick.
It is. It's very dark, and I think it just didn't do as well in the box office because it was competing with The Sixth Sense.
I was going to say it came out same time as Sixth Sense, and like
similar plot.
Yeah, no shade against Stir of Echoes, but Sixth Sense is brilliant. Like it is.
So it just got overshadowed.
Yeah.
If that had come out a year later, or even a year earlier, I think it would have done so well. Because one of my favorite script writers is David Cohen.
Okay.
And he's done like Secret Window. He's done a whole bunch of other movies, but really, really great writing.
Okay.
And this movie's up there as one of my favorites.
So it's kind of a paranormal haunting type.
Yes.
Flick? Yeah. Because I know very little about it. I try not to learn too much about flicks before I get to see them. You're welcome to talk about as much detail as you want here, but like if I'm investing,
I won't post any spoilers.
Yeah. Nice one, man. Who else? Because obviously Kevin Bacon is the big name in it, but there must be some other.
Yeah, no. It's got the lady from, I think she was in, what was she in? Law and Order.
Mariska Hargitay?
No. Let me find her name quickly. I think it's.
This is why we have IMDb.
100%. She was in.
I don't know.
Yeah. Catherine Erb.
She's not
Law and Order, Criminal Intent. And she's in The Mighty Ducks too.
Oh, okay.
She was the love interest in D2. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. Kevin Dunn. Not a whole bunch of big names, but Kevin Bacon steals the show. Like he's awesome in it. He's really good.
I always liked him in horror. I know like he moved on to do more serious stuff. I say serious in quotes because horror is always treated poorly, but I do like him. Same with Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke like avoided horror for the longest time, and then like
The Black Phone. He comes out with The Black Phone. Like that's
even before that, he was in Sinister. Like Sinister was his first horror film, and he's great in that.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's a scary one. And that's got Vincent D'Onofrio as well, who's also from Law and Order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice one. Okay, I gotta watch when that Stir of Echoes box is coming out. I'll get it and I'll keep you updated with my thoughts.
Let me know.
All right, well, Tania, that brings us back to you. What's next on your list?
Yeah. Let me bring that up. I have, and this is probably my sci-fi ultimate, is Interstellar.
We can stop the show now. Like that's pretty much a perfect film.
Yeah. I think completely perfect in every way, to be perfectly honest. Honestly, one of my dad's favorites, and I probably, am drawing to that as well. But just a really great film, to be honest. Love Matthew McConaughey. Love him so much as an actor. But Christopher Nolan, what a legend of a director.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
But even just the storyline, I absolutely love the whole, going to space, trying to find a world that's going to sustain life, and then this weird ending where you're just like, what galaxy, what dimension is he in? How they were able to sort of fit that in and actually make sense of it, like that to me is great writing. It really sucked me in from the get-go.
I feel like it's a real middle finger to, because he had a lot of critics before it came out. Like even though hit after hit. Like, he'd done 2 Batman films, especially like obviously Dark Knight, well received. He'd done The Prestige, which was a bit of a sleeper hit. Like, not a lot of people saw it, but it was reviewed very well. Prestige is still probably one of my top 3 favorites of his film.
Brilliant.
But the big criticism he kept getting, aside from he doesn't really write well for women, he still gets that critique a little bit, was he's very emotionally disconnected. He doesn't make very emotional films. So Interstellar feels like a big middle finger to that. It's like, oh, like, try not to cry.
What?
Yeah, like, oh, Murph, like, oh my goodness, like, Murph is
brilliant,
heartbreaking,
totally,
and so mathematically planned. Like, you can see like every dot laid out and how it connects. Like when he puts his hand through the hologram on the way, and you're like, what the hell's that? And then like, we're getting there. Like, it's gonna take us 2 hours, but we're gonna get there, and you're gonna love it.
It's gonna make sense. But
and that score, like, oh my goodness.
There's just something out of this world.
Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is an absolute god.
He's actually seeing him live.
I saw you posted online. And I was like, I gave a little like. I'm like, very nice.
But just the cleverness in those little things, like the score, for example. Apparently, when they're on that water planet,
the ticking,
the ticking is like so calculated, and that's how they wrote that part.
Yeah, it was like every second or every minute, like it ticks for like whatever. I can't remember what it is, but like the amount of ticks equates the number of years that he misses. Basically, like if you count it out like that, it all adds up. So I can't remember what it was exactly, but yeah,
unreal. Just how who thinks of that? Like, it's
it's
awesome.
crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy.
But no, and that's something I popped on while I was working, actually not that long ago, and I was like, shit, what? And how am I even working and watching this at the same time?
Yeah.
Anyway,
my favorite, because I love that film. My favorite Chris Nolan factoid at the moment is Oppenheimer, because he shot it on film stock. It wasn't digital. If you take the reel of Oppenheimer and you roll it out lengthwise, it will take you the length of the movie to walk the length of the movie. So it takes about 3 hours to walk the entire reel.
Wow!
And I'm like, that's like, surely that can't be deliberate. Like, but if it is, like, just
brilliant.
I love the way he thinks about things. We just watched as a group the others on the show, Maddie and Nick and I. We watched Following for the first time, which is Nolan's first movie. We'd never seen it because it's not been available, but it was overseas. And like, I'm watching that, I'm like, oh my god, like you can see Inception in this. You can see like in 1999, you can see like he's always had the plan, and it's not a sci-fi film. It's a detective story kind of. But you're watching this film and you can see the seeds of where he's going. It's like, wow, like even over almost 30 years ago, he knew where he wanted to get to. Like, it's fascinating. So that's a great one.
I did pick up on that when you did Insomnia, and that opening sequence where he's got the cinematography of the plane just going through, you know, all those mountains and everything. I was like, oh man, that's so Dark Knight Rises. That's so, you know, that movie. Like, he's got a distinct style.
Yeah. Nice one. Man. Like, and now he's got Odyssey coming out, which seems to be a lot closer than I realized, because I thought they were still in pre-production, but we've seen a still of Matt Damon with a beard and a helmet, and there's a poster drop.
They've done the set design. Like,
I think they're a lot further along than a lot of us realize. I'm like, oh my god, like maybe I'm just out of the loop, but
no, you're right. They're moving fast.
And it feels like, I think this is like his first real crack at fantasy. So, you know, I'm kind of excited about that. We're going to get a big animatronic Cyclops, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah. It looks so cool.
I don't even know what it's going to be about, but it sounds great. It's going to be something we're 100% going to be seeing at the cinema.
Isn't it like a really massive cast as well? Like Zendaya, Tom Holland,
and like it's a really weird cast. Like
it's a mix.
Like them together.
When you hear the names, you're like, really, those people? Although I would say Oppenheimer is like that as well. There are a lot of people that like, because you're like, okay, well, you've got Cillian Murphy, that, you know, that makes sense. He's worked with him before, and you've got Matt Damon, that makes sense. And they're like, oh, and then Josh Hartnett. What?
Yeah,
Teen Heartthrob 2000s Josh Hartnett?
Robert Downey Jr.
You know, Florence Pugh. Like it's like he's kind of which I guess he's always kind of done. Like if you look at his early stuff, there are some weird matchups and stuff, but this one I think it's just the scale of the cast. You're like, oh my god, he's getting everyone in Hollywood.
What's his name? This guy's like making a massive name for himself after that movie Good Time. Benny Safdie.
Oh, the Safdies, the Safdie brothers, Benny Safdie.
Yeah, he was in that as well. Yeah, that guy's getting some great roles.
Yeah.
Did Safdie do Uncut Gems as well? Is that him?
I think so. Yeah. I think
Those are
he's
two
in that.
films. Like if you put that in a triple feature with Whiplash, I think I would die. They're so stressful.
Do you know what? I was about to put on Uncut Gems, and I don't know what possessed me to turn it off, or maybe it was the time of night or whatever. But what do you personally rate Uncut Gems?
I've only
Is it
seen
a great movie?
I've only seen it the one time. I can't tell you if it's a great movie. I liked it. I remember liking it. I remember being stressed out by it, but I think I was so distracted by Adam Sandler's performance in a very positive way that because he obviously had such a style in the 90s, like his comedies, like, and then randomly in the mid 2000s has Punch Drunk Love, and you're like, oh my god, like look what he can do, and like that's not a critique of what he did before. Like I love Billy Madison, I love Happy Gilmore, like I love Big Daddy, but just seeing his range, I'm like, oh my goodness, look what he does, and then he kind of goes back to what he was doing, and then we don't see too much more from him for all. He's just kind of doing the same. Then he becomes the Netflix guy. So like seeing him branch out again, just that, I was like, I didn't even care about the movie. Like I am here for Sandler. But I do remember really digging it. I remember finding it very stressful. I remember finding most of the characters very irritating, deliberately so. But yeah, I would definitely be keen to watch it again. But it's not. Yeah, I think at the time I thought it was a pretty good film. I think I thought I dug it, but I think like so much of it was because of his performance.
It'll be worth checking out. I think. Yeah. All right. Sandman.
So you haven't seen Uncut Gems?
I haven't. No.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't sure if you were just like, what did you think of it? Because I thought no. I really. Oh, in that case, like, I think okay. Now that I know that I'm selling it to you, I would say based on his performance alone, you have to check it out. Like just to see what he can do.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't spoil anything in there because there are some bad decisions made in that film by characters, not by the filmmakers.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. What's next on your list? We'll go back to you, Stefan.
All right. My next one was. Ooh.
I told my wife, I'm like, this will be like 90 minutes. And then we talked for 90 minutes before we recorded.
I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. She had her wisdom teeth out last weekend, so she's still like recovering. So I'm sure she's like, leave me alone. Just let me rest.
All right. Well, I'm a massive Bond fan, right?
Yes.
So my favorite James Bond movie out of the whole lot is License to Kill. Now that's the darkest Bond movie according to a lot of fans.
Okay.
It is a different direction that they decided to take. And personally, I think it was for the best. Okay. It is a phenomenal Bond movie. It's just dark. The themes in that movie was awesome. And the time it came out, I just think that because it didn't do as well, I think the world wasn't ready yet to see that side of Bond.
I was trying to see if I'd seen it. It's a Timothy Dalton because I'm pretty sure I've got this one. I have seen one, but it's been a long time since I've seen it.
He's going up against a massive drug dealer.
Yeah.
And it's just basically a massive revenge sort of film. It's Bond in a revenge film, which is so cool.
That is cool because I would again I'm not as familiar with the older stuff. I've seen obviously all the Daniel Craig stuff, which I think is mostly positive. I know that people obviously have issues with Quantum of Solace. I think Quantum of Solace works better if you play it as a double feature with Casino Royale.
Yes.
It does work a little bit better.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly like Spectre. Again, I haven't seen it since it was in theaters, so I do have to rewatch it. But I remember just thinking it was very simple. Like it wasn't too.
The plot was very simple. It wasn't too many action scenes. It was very drama.
Yeah.
Slow.
And my biggest problem with Spectre is I think Casino Royale is still my favorite of all the Bond films and of that series. But Skyfall is a close second. I think my biggest problem with Spectre is you're like, we did something interesting with James Bond. We made him too old to be James Bond, and he has to grapple with being too old to be James Bond and somehow overcome this. And then in Spectre, it's like, oh, I'm better.
I'm back to normal.
No. But it was so interesting. Like it was so cool and different. And like you had Javier Bardem. And like I felt like they kind of rest on their laurels a bit. Like, well, look, we've got Christoph Waltz, so we don't need to try. It's like,
Yeah.
No.
No.
Did you see the Green Hornet? They had Christoph Waltz and they didn't try. No, that's not true. They did try. There's some fun in that movie.
No, it's the Craig movies were really, really good, but I think they failed. I think they tried to do a lot with Spectre, especially. They tried to do a lot more than what they needed to sort of do, like bring in Blofeld, make it more of a personal connection to Bond, blah blah blah. But it's kind of like what made the older movies work was that Blofeld was like really mysterious. Who is Blofeld? Why does he hate Bond? Like, you don't know all these things, and that's what made it so fun. And that's why they tried to be really creative with the writing and go into how he's connected. It's like, nah, mate, like make Bond exciting, make it
more mysterious.
Make it mysterious. But then you know,
I think also they were like, well, Daniel Craig is never going to get sick of this, and literally while promoting the film, he was like, I'm done.
I'm
and
done.
Like, oh, but we just started building a universe, and that's like, but I think they landed the plane okay. I quite like No Time to Die. Like when they brought that film out, they announced something like that is a Bond title, like that is a James Bond movie title, No Time to Die. And
I'm a massive fan of that director, Kerry.
Yes,
Kerry Fukunaga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's great. So did he do Magnificent Seven? Is that that was one of his? Did he do the remake? I thought
he did Maniac, and he also did the True Detective season 1.
Okay.
Yeah, epic.
Yeah, nice.
Very
okay, cool.
Good, very good. That's probably my favorite series.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, really, really good. But
License to Kill.
License to Kill. Yeah, that's one of my ones.
Yeah, nice.
Nice one. I got to go back and rewatch it, especially with you talking about how dark it is. It's one of the darkest entries because I haven't seen all the Bond flicks. I've got most of them.
Oh, you got to get onto it, James. Like,
yeah.
If I can put in a favorite Bond,
Go for it. Yeah, sorry, please.
I do enjoy Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I was if you say Die Another Day, that would be amazing. You're like Halle Berry, Madonna song. It's great.
The Madonna song. Yeah.
Come on, if that doesn't bring you back to what year?
2002.
Yeah, that is exactly 2002.
Yeah.
With the albino, was there an albino guy in that one? I feel like there was.
A guy who, I think he got blown up with diamonds and his diamonds stuck to his face.
Ah, yes, that old trick. Casino Royale is perfect. I have like no notes.
Look, honestly, in terms of being a Bond movie, Casino Royale has to be one of the best. Like,
but the love interest.
Vespa.
Vespa. Yeah,
I love her.
But
and it's so cool to see that relationship go to the very end.
When they planted that in the fifth one, I was like, wow, like that's cool. And then what they did with it. And like it's interesting because that film, like that Casino Royale, like with the exception of Judi Dench, everyone in that film is on the cusp of their career exploding. Like Daniel Craig hasn't quite become Daniel Craig yet. Mads Mikkelsen is big in Europe, but he hasn't exploded yet. You got Jeffrey Wright, who hasn't become Jeffrey Wright yet. Like he hasn't. Like you got all these cool. Like Ava Green was big in Europe. She's done like The Dreamers and stuff like that, but she hasn't become this superstar. Like it's so interesting. Like you're looking at this film, you're like, oh my god, like this is like the best of Hollywood, but they didn't know it. Like or like maybe Martin Campbell did. Like he's like, oh, this is the best of Hollywood. Just give me 5 minutes.
He knew, yes, he knew it.
Yeah,
something was up.
Oh man, okay. So now I got to watch that and Whiplash. All right, good. You're like, but License to Kill. I'm like, yeah, License to Kill, but Casino Royale. Awesome. We'll go back to you, Tanya. We're getting to the pointy end. We're almost at the end of this list. We go on lots of tangents on this show, which is
and I guess drawing back on my Meryl Streep sort of the situation that I've got going on, Death Becomes Her is one of the top ones.
Brilliant.
What a wonderful movie.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a great one. And it's one of those ones that you remember watching, a lot of the time, like even as a kid growing up. I forget what year that one came out.
That's 90s?
94?
Yeah, and I must have this theme of 90s films. But anyway, so watched it a number of times. I definitely remember watching it with my parents. But then randomly I had to recommend it to someone at work not that long ago, and she absolutely loved it. And I was like,
it's so fun.
It's such a fun movie. Flick.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time probably about in the last 5 years. And then
Yeah.
while we were overseas, again, like the UK had it on Blu-ray, so I was like, snatch, let's get this one.
Oh,
So I haven't rewatched it. It's literally next to my Blu-ray player out in the other room at the moment. I've got a pile of the last few from the UK to watch, and it's on there. But it's really interesting. It makes total sense that you like that movie, given that you're such a Beetlejuice fan, because I think there's a lot of similarities. And you've got like, I think it's pre-Pulp Fiction. So because you got Bruce Willis,
Yes.
he's
Yes,
coming
it
off
is.
Die Hard and Die
Yeah.
Hard 2, but he'd
Yeah.
also been doing a bunch of sitcom work. So you get to see him kind of
It's a
use his
comedic
star power to show what he can do with comedy.
Yes, yes.
And I've actually just been watching the Die Hard franchise just the last couple of days. Man, like there's nothing cooler than like 80s, 90s Bruce Willis. He is pretty great.
He's so badass. Have you seen The Last Boy Scout?
No, I haven't. It's one I've got to watch. Yeah,
That's a great movie too.
Yeah.
Tony Scott absolutely he makes it look so cool. He makes Bruce look cool. Makes every shot look really just chill. It's really hit the lighting, the filters that he uses. It's awesome.
I've got to get back on to Death Becomes Her, because I've only watched it the one time. It was about 5 years ago, and we were talking about it last year. I think on our Halloween episode, like Tina brought it up, because it's one of her. We were talking about like films that have kind of a witchy feel. I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're witches, we'll just do something. And she brought up that. I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch Death Becomes Her again. Like that movie is so good.
It is a lot of fun. It's great, and I love a bit of Goldie Hawn as well. To be honest,
yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah, he's cool, and I just the whole story of you know her becoming the it person in a way at the end, starting off as how she did in her apartment with that. I think that's how it opens, that whole movie where she's in the apartment and she's got a bunch of cats around her. Anyway, great film.
Great film.
Nice one, man. The only reason I don't have more to say about it is I just don't remember much about it, but I remember loving it. So I'll have to resubmit my review. Yeah. I was like, hey Tanya, I've rewatched it. You were right, it was good. Okay, catch you later. We were right to say that it was good. Okay. Nice. All right, we'll jump back to you and to your second last one, Stefan.
Yeah, so I'd have to say it's The Shining. Kubrick's masterpiece. Yeah. That movie, I'll always remember just watching it for the first time with my brother. We just thought, this looks pretty horrifying. We'll give it a shot.
It ended up being scary.
Well, to be honest, we watched it. We started watching it like at 10:30 at night, and obviously it's like a 2.5 hour movie or something. So we're watching this past midnight. All the lights are out. That last scene, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't watched it. The Shining. That last shot, when like boom, fade out, credits roll, we turn to each other. We're just like, what did we just watch?
That lady in the tub is still scary.
Haunting.
Still scary. And like, I don't even know who did the score. Like, but just using those 4 notes.
Wendy Carlos? Wendy Carlos?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that you know that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's Wendy Carlos. Yeah, that's
4 notes. Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God. Like, look what you did with 4 notes. Like, I'm getting chills now.
I know. But just
again.
It's the pacing of that movie. The pacing is just so slow, and it gives you enough time to absorb what you're watching, And
sorry, go on. No, go.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was
going to say. I totally understand Stephen King's critiques. Like, I've read the book. I see why. There's a slow descent into madness in the book that Jack Nicholson. No one went to that movie like, I wonder if he's going to be a normal guy. But at the same time,
well, what's this?
It serves the purpose of the film. Like, oh man, it's so good. So my question then, because obviously The Shining is such a masterpiece. Dr. Sleep, have you gone to it? Have you seen it? And if so, what are your thoughts on that as a sequel?
Brilliant movie. I just think it was made in the wrong era. Like, I think if that had come out late 80s, The Shining is still relatively, hot. Like, I think it would have been like, I don't know, even better, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think given that it's a bit more modern now, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, it's not bad. But I mean, because Danny's like older and that's his story, it makes sense that it's sort of set now.
Mm.
But I really enjoyed it. I know you liked it even more.
I really loved I like that whole like
The witches.
Rose the Hat. Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name? Ferguson.
That's Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson.
I love Rebecca Ferguson. Obviously in June as well. What else has she been in?
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
Impossible. But no, I love that whole sort of story. I thought that was really cool. So for me, it kind of was a fun flick. I didn't mind.
Yeah, it's one of those films where when I think about it, I'm like, man, like I don't like, it's not The Shining, like it's fine, like, and then I watched it, I'm like, I was wrong. This is brilliant. Like,
Well, Mike Flanagan was really, really like he made it look really, really cool. Like the set design, he brought you into the feel like you were, watching a Kubrick movie, and like Haunting of Hill House was epic.
Something I still haven't seen, which I get crucified for all the time. Like, you haven't seen Haunting of Hill House? I haven't. Like, I'm just not big with series, so I will get to it. So I've got actually a list on my phone. I'm like, these are the ones I must watch, and now I'm slowly working through shows to catch up. So
you'll love it. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. I remember reading an interview with him, and he's like, I sat down with Stephen King. I was like, and like Mike Flanagan's like, look, I know how you feel about the other movie. I get it. But we're doing a sequel, we have to reference it. And like, so apparently Stephen King was very like begrudging, like, well, I saw some dailies and I don't agree with it, but it's cool. Like they made it kind of better. So I like that they had to address it with him and sit him down.
Oh, prepare him. He didn't want another surprise.
Yeah, look, you're gonna see the same overlook from that movie you don't like. But that's a solid. I'm really excited because you both give me such amazing lists. But ideally we save the best till last, so I would have no idea what we're gonna see. So, Tania, let's kick it off. What's your final film?
Look, I didn't rate them in any order, to be perfectly honest. It's just I think I'm all about just fun films.
Yeah.
And 90s, I feel were a great decade for it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Jumanji is in there.
Really?
What a great flick! And we started the whole conversation talking about Robin Williams.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
You know how to close a show, man. That's great.
Oh.
So Jumanji's up there. But and I don't know, just that whole board game feel. Like I've always wanted that board game. I don't care if it sucked me into some other world and I'm fighting for my life with some madman that wants to shoot me.
In the world of 3D printing, they're doing them, man. You're seeing there's really cool versions of them now. Like
I have seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I honestly, some of the really nice carved board ones.
Really?
Yeah, very.
That's it.
Very well put together. But no, just another fun film, to be honest. A good one.
That film for me as a child was a cautionary tale. I still remember in the jungle, you must wait until they roll a 5 or 8. I do not want to wait in that jungle for 30 years and turn into I don't want to turn to Robin Williams, but it seems like he had a rough couple of years.
Yeah.
I never got into that movie that much, though.
I don't know.
Everyone loved it, and I can see the appeal, and it's grown on me a lot. But as a kid, I don't know. I didn't watch it as much.
You probably watched it more because of me. So there you go. That's one movie that I've sort of imparted on.
There you go. Young Kirsten Dunst before she kind of... She's in that?
Well, what did Kirsten Dunst... Yeah, no, wasn't she...
She would have done Interview with the Vampire, I imagine.
Interview with the Vampire was her first. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of the director, Joe Johnston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did The Rocketeer.
And he did Captain America, the First Avenger.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is a really underrated movie.
It's so underrated. It's so good.
Violent. Like Captain America throws a Nazi through a propeller and you see it. Like that happens in a movie called Captain America. Sorry, he was a Hydra agent. He wasn't a Nazi, but we
still. The big reveal. Like taking off his face and you've got Red Skull, like that's horrifying to little kids. So
great director. Okay, well we've done this question probably won't shock you, Tania, because I've done it like 4 times already. Sequels. We've got legacy sequels to the Jumanji franchise. So how do you feel about those new ones?
I don't mind them.
I think they're really fun. I think they're great popcorn movies.
Good. I totally agree, honestly. And I'm a very easy and chill person when it comes to movies, and that ticks all my tick boxes. So I didn't mind it, and I don't mind The Rock.
Yeah,
Like,
I know like he's become a little bit unpopular. Like he's doing a lot of gin promotion and not a lot of other stuff, but I don't mind The Rock.
The Rock. I
There's
don't mind John. What is Jack Black? Who
Jack
else is in
Black,
it?
Karen Gillan.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
It's the most I've enjoyed Kevin Hart in a film. He's not really my brand of comedy, but I really like him in those films. But to me, there are a few things funnier to me than Aquafina doing a Danny DeVito impression in that second sequel where she's going up to like, oh my god, like that had me in tears. But even the kids are good. Like you got Alex Wolff, who previously was in Hereditary.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
That's it.
Nah,
heaps of fun, and I love it.
They did really well with it.
Yeah, Rhys Darby in the first one is your NPC. There's some good stuff in there. So
cool stuff. And what do they use this time to get into the game? They're playing
console.
See, it's for the new kids that are definitely into the consoles and not the board games these days.
Like, I mean, they've been moving away from console gaming like since before that movie, but they're like, it's time. I think they even made a joke about it. They're like, what is this thing?
It's like, why is it so dusty? What's the TV doing here? Oh my god!
I rate Jumanji. I haven't watched the original one in a long time, but that was a very special film for me growing up as well. Like that was a really fun, it was kind of the first like grown up film I watched, and obviously it's not a grown up film like the way we watch films now, but like I think it was my first kind of like step away from animated films or purely for children films, like that and Men in Black. I think like the big ones in the 90s for me. So I think Jumanji's a great pick. I think it's a good final one as well. It's a nice way to close out your list. Which brings us to you, Stefan. How are we going to round out your list? Like this is a
coincidentally
Jumanji.
No, it's actually just a Robin Williams movie. It's my all-time favorite movie. It's Hook.
And I mentioned it before as well. That's why you were like, hang on.
I was like, hang on a second.
Yeah. I was 36 years late to that movie. But that movie was well worth the wait. Well, maybe not 36 years. I'm 36, but I think that movie was 91. So
91.
But I was 3 decades late to that film, and it did not disappoint.
No, it's awesome, and apparently it's one of Spielberg's least favorites.
He considers his only real failure.
Yeah, totally.
Which I find very hard to believe.
Very hard to believe.
To be honest.
But
you did Kingdom of Crystal Skull. I know that's like, it's easy picking. People like to blame that film. I actually don't mind Kingdom of Crystal Skull, but like
Indy.
It's Indy versus Aliens.
Yeah.
What?
Well, trying to find out.
That's how most people reacted in the theater.
What?
Like a crossover to Aliens?
No, he's trying to buy.
No, not the Xenomorph. Oh my god, that would be. I would go and see that. Indy cracks off a Xenomorph's tail and he's using that as a whip. Like, that's amazing.
Reaching for his hat and like the Xenomorphs or something.
I just die already. Been alive too long.
Hook is incredible. That was
fantastic. And I remember we went to see a John Williams like.
Oh yeah, the MSO.
Yeah,
like one of those like concert experience things. Yeah,
concert experience things with the MSO, the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, and
nice.
They did a rendition of one of his songs from Hook, and I was like, wow. And they were talking about his jazzy sort of days. John Williams had this has his jazz background, and they played with this one part from Hook. It was at the start of the movie, and I was just like, wow, this takes me back. Like, I love everything about that movie. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, and I'm sure someone listening will prove me wrong, but I think that's the last big pirate film for a while. I think you get Hook, and then we get Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think there's much in between. I think we lose.
You are very correct. I can't think of anything else.
There's probably something in there. Like we probably get like a Peter Pan animated sequel, or we probably get something, but nothing major for about a decade.
No.
And that, I have recently become fascinated by 90s Julia Roberts. So Julia Roberts was not really on my radar growing up. Like I'd seen her in a few things, but she did dramas and stuff, and that wasn't, or like rom-coms, so that wasn't my bag. And the last couple of years, I've been really getting into her earlier work. I saw Steel Magnolias, I've seen Pretty Woman and stuff, and like I've got this real. I'm like, oh my god, like. Why did I not drink from the same cup that the rest of the world was? Like 90s Julia Roberts is amazing. Like an evening, like
she was really good. We watched one recently.
Yeah, what the one she was trying to flee domestic abuse.
That's right, Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yeah, Sleeping with the Enemy. Yeah, like because Tinkerbell, I think, like if you go back and look at the Disney stuff, like Tinkerbell, not the greatest character, like pretty, like neither is Peter Pan actually, for that matter. But like that animated flick, pretty like troublesome characters, and somehow like they found a way to capture this joy and this this kind of beauty in those characters in Hook. I think Hook is, I agree. I think it's you never want to accuse Steven Spielberg of being wrong, but I think he's wrong with this one. Like
I think he is.
it's so good. Maggie, what's her name? I'll say Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's not her. Who played McGonagall? Oh my God, how much she just passed away? Maggie Smith. That's who I'm thinking of. You got Bob Hoskins, Dustin Hoffman. Like, oh my God, like
you got a whole.
And you got Glenn Close.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's like, but where is she? Where is she?
No, I'm trying to remember. She's one of the dudes. She's one of the pirates.
Yes.
Because I remember seeing. Because I remember, I was like, I'm like, is that Glenn Close? Like,
and Phil Collins.
Yes.
Phil Collins.
Yes.
He's a detective.
That's right. Yes.
We've been listening to a whole heap of Phil Collins lately. Like, oh my God.
It's so funny that like Glenn Close plays a dude in that movie, and only a couple of years before she was in Fatal Attraction.
I know.
Love that film.
That should be on your list.
That's
actually.
A high rotation film, and I don't know why.
Brilliant. Adrian Lynch.
She's just a crazy person, and she does it so damn well.
I watched that for the first time a couple of years back, and I was like, and I'd seen a couple of Michael Douglas films in a row. I was like, what was everyone's obsession with Michael Douglas like cheating on women in the 80s? Like every movie in the 80s, he's cheating on his wife.
Lynn.
What's that other film that's similar to Fatal Attraction that we always seem to watch?
It's not Original Sin. It's Unfaithful.
With Diane Lane.
Yes.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I think I might have borrowed that from the video store we worked at. I think that might have been when I first watched it. And I don't remember too much, but I definitely remember feeling too young for it. Even at age 16, I'm like, this is very adult.
I shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah. I was like, Mom.
No, that Fatal Attraction is awesome. It's a really weird movie, but like,
there's a couple. Like, there's another one. Is it Dressed to Kill? I think maybe came out around the same time. Dressed to Kill.
Isn't that with
Michael Caine? Is that the one? Is it called Dressed to Kill? It's very similar, like thematically, and it's like a
Michael Caine.
Isn't that with Matthew McConaughey?
No.
It's an 80s film. Michael Caine and Angie Dickinson.
I don't know that.
Dressed to Kill.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that one. No.
And Nancy Allen. And it's a Brian De Palma film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been big then.
Yeah, 1980.
1980.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So pre-Untouchables, I think. Yeah.
Pre-Untouchables. So this would have been, because I think he got really big with the Untouchables, wasn't that?
Yeah. He did a couple of big ones. Like I'm losing my mind now. It is 11 o'clock at night for those people listening and wondering why we've lost our minds. It's that.
Scarface. Yeah.
Scarface. Of course. Yeah. Dressed to Kill, I would say, is kind of similar thematically. I would put it like, it's kind of like in the 80s, you could make these erotic thrillers and market them to everyone. Be like, hey, like this is just a great Friday night out, guys. Check out this erotic thriller. They don't really make them like that anymore. But yeah,
I like that. No. Oh, all right. I'll put that on my list.
Nice one. I've definitely got it. So when you guys come over and check out the collection, you can pick some and watch them. Nice one. Good list, guys. We're almost at the end. And Tania, you were so like, oh, I'm not going to have much to say. Like, but you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
No. It's just. I always tell people when they come into the show, I'm like, look, if you can have a conversation with a person, you can totally do this show. This show's easy. Like this show, I'm not going to ask the hard questions. Although, and I was mean tonight. I said I was a bit mean.
This is a very 2005 James. I must say, this is the James I am well acquainted with.
You're like, I've had my fill. I'll see you in 20 years. It's generous of you to think that I'm going to live for another 20 years the way I take care of myself. But anyway.
I'm sure you said that, James. I didn't say anything about another 20 years.
So the last thing we like to do, and when I say we like to, I mean me, because I designed the show, is go through a rapid fire round of questions. It's not so rapid. We end up getting a bit of chit chat, but I'm just going to ask you both a couple of questions, and then we'll close this bad boy out, and you can go. I was going to say go home. You are home. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. So first of all, you might have the same answers, you might not. But what's the last movie you watched?
It'd be the same. It'd have to be the same.
What did we watch?
Yeah, we're watching a lot of TV lately. That's the tricky bit.
We watched Titanic recently.
Oh yeah, we did too.
Brilliant movie.
That would have to be it.
Nice. I haven't rewatched. That was another one I bought while I was overseas. It's with let me look at the list because I forgot what it was called already. Death Becomes Her. It's in the pile with Death Becomes Her. So Titanic I haven't seen since I received the VHS for Christmas in 1998. So it's a long time since I watched it.
Oh, James, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait. Yeah. I have my. There's people who listen to this show know I have my issues with James Cameron, but I can't. I do love Titanic. So
yeah, but it's one of those films that honestly, even now with all the great editing and things that are put into films these days, it really stands on its own. It's just it's a great homage to obviously this disaster that happened, however many years ago now, but great storytelling between two characters, Leo and Kate.
Yeah. Who are still friends. I don't know if you've ever seen do you see the reels and stuff, every time they're at an award ceremony together, she always tries to get a picture with them, and they've got this
they're great,
it's very sweet.
I was so angry as a kid knowing that they weren't actually together in real life. And I was like, what, she's married to some who? It's not Leonardo DiCaprio. I was so invested in them as a couple, and it's because we used to live in Footscray, and we had in a block of flats not that far from Ballarat Road, and I don't know how it happened to be there, but we had at the bottom of our staircase or I guess apartment building, someone had left a whole heap of these free movie vouchers, obviously just movie vouchers. I'm thinking they just needed to be delivered or given around the area, but we just ended up racking a whole heap of them and watching Titanic at least 3 times in a row. So that's the reason why we watched it as a family so many times.
10 hours of Titanic. Oh my God.
And that is not a family-friendly film. That is not. I remember Christmas morning putting the VHS in, and I think that was my first curse word in a film, because even though I'd seen Blues Brothers, it was taped off the television, so there's no cursing. I think it was my first nudity in a film. I was like, oh, they're doing drawings now. 9 years old, maybe 10 years old. Hey, mom and dad, and my younger siblings, Merry Christmas.
That's hilarious. Oh, no.
So Titanic is the last movie you
watched.
Excellent. So my next question, what's that one movie that's been sitting on your watch list forever? We've all got one. We keep meaning to watch it. We put it off for whatever reason. What haven't you seen? And you're like, I need to see it. I should have seen it by now.
Oh, that's a good question. We have been wanting to watch. Well, it's a newer movie. It hasn't been on the watch list for a long time, 100%. But we've been talking about it. Gladiator 2.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet either. Yeah. So that's fair. Yeah,
it's fairly new, but I'm sure there's something in the pile that we definitely have to,
definitely
select.
What's the other one with what's his name? Heretic. I really want to.
Oh, with Hugh Grant. It's wonderful.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah. He's really good in it. I think he kind of got snubbed as well, to be honest. It might be my favorite Hugh Grant performance ever. I think he's wonderful in it. He's really good. Yeah.
That miniseries he did with Nicole Kidman, he played a sort of similar
The
character.
Undoing?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, so yeah.
In the same vein, James. So if I was to recommend that,
I would say Heretic, Paddington 2, favorite performances of Hugh Grant. So.
Really?
Have you not seen? Have you seen Paddington 2?
No.
Oh my god!
Animated? Like what?
No, Paddington. There's a CGI bear in it, but everyone else.
Oh, okay.
It has like, and I know at the start of the show I said I don't really buy into Rotten Tomatoes, but it's like one of the few movies have a perfect Rotten Tomatoes score. Paddington 2 will absolutely charm you to death.
You need to watch Paddington 1?
I mean, you can watch that as well. It's wonderful. Interestingly, here's the connection between that TV show you just mentioned. Nicole Kidman, the villain in the first one.
Oh, it's just movie links.
Yeah. Here's how powerful Paddington 2 is. We saw it in theaters, my wife and I. We didn't have kids at the time, so we went and saw it by ourselves. And the plot of the film, this is not a spoiler from the trailer. The plot of the film is that Paddington gets wrongfully sent to prison because he gets accused for a crime he didn't commit. Once that bear got arrested, she didn't stop crying for the rest of the film. She literally cried the entire time. And when I asked her, why are you crying in Paddington 2? She goes, well, I keep thinking what would happen if our dog Loki got arrested. And I'm like, CGI bear who didn't really get arrested. Like, our dog is never going to get arrested.
No, is he going to be in CGI form?
But anyway, so Paddington 2, totally worth your time. Oh my goodness, like it's fun.
All right. Did Paul King do that one?
Yes, he did the first two.
See, that's why we would love it, because we love the Mighty Boosh, we love the new Wonka, we love you know.
So yeah, he did Wonka instead of Paddington 3. And I remember when he did that, I was like, oh, but Wonka, like, why would you? And then they put Timothy Chalamet, who at the time, I wasn't really a Chalamet fan. I hadn't seen much of his, but every time I saw, I'd only seen him in Lady Bird and one other thing. I'm like, does he just, and Pretty Woman.
Interstellar. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's in Interstellar, isn't he? But I guess like he's not really a huge part of that. So
small roles.
Yeah, so I'd really only seen him like do big stuff with Pretty Woman and Lady Bird, and I was like, this kid's just really unlikable. I don't really. I know he's just playing a role, but like he's too convincing. And then I saw him in Bones and All, and that I was like, okay,
that's a movie I want to watch. Actually.
Now I get it.
I'm a little bit of a Timothy Chalamet fan.
Yeah, so I liked him in that. I like him in Dune, even though I'm not a huge Dune fan of the movie. Just I think they're wonderful and they're magnificent. They're masterpieces, but they're a little bit dry for me. No pun intended. And I do really like him in Wonka as well. Even though I think he's a weird choice. I'm like, this is really kind of giddy and goofy for Timothy Chalamet, but he seems to be having lots of fun.
That's what we want.
I just saw him recently, like probably 2 months ago. I watched him in a movie called Beautiful Boy.
Yeah, I haven't. Is that the one with Steve Carell?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I've heard it's great.
Incredible movie.
Yeah.
Very, very
pretty dark.
Dark,
also,
you know, the theme of drugs and addiction.
Yeah.
But Steve Carell, phenomenal.
Dude might be the best comedic actor to make the transition to dramatic.
Definitely.
Like way back. Brilliant. Little Miss Sunshine. Brilliant. Crazy Stupid Love is more comedic, but brilliant.
Really good.
Like just
how he can change, like
Foxcatcher, excellent.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I watched Curly Sue the other day, and that was his first role.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I'll have to go check it out.
John Hughes.
Yeah, okay. No, I haven't seen it.
The little chick with the red hair?
Yeah, with the little curls.
Oh,
yeah. And James Belushi is in it.
Everyone's favorite Belushi. James Belushi.
Yeah, so watch that if you can.
All right, good. I'll check it out. I always take a recommendation seriously. Alrighty, we've talked about what's on our movie watch list. So my next question is for both of you: are you a movie crier? Are you someone who cries in movies, or are you one of those tough guys who are like, no, I'm not going to cry in this movie? The question is for both of you. So.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm 100% a crier. I'm probably more so at like a TV show at the moment, but I won't talk about that. But I did in that movie Everything Everywhere at Once.
Yeah.
To say that I shed a few tears. I don't know why, but I ended up, I think there was just part of the film that I sort of resonated, and I can't tell you when. But Steph's like, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know.
No, there's some beautiful moments in that when there's in another world, I'd happily fold laundry with you. Like, oh my God, like what a beautiful line. And it's Short Round. It's Data. Like he grew up and his dreams came true. Like it took, a long time, but he got there. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm a big movie crier as well. That's literally just index. I'm like, I know I am, so everyone must cry.
I don't think I'm a movie crier. I think I get really choked up. Like I feel it in my throat. There's this one scene in I don't know if you've seen a Deep Impact.
Yeah, a long time ago for sure.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
There's this one scene in Deep Impact where I think the main character Tia Leone, she's got to like vacate her office and everything, and she goes and takes like a friend of hers who's chosen to stay behind and accept her fate, really. But she just takes the kid and plonks her on an aeroplane, on a helicopter, and her friend follows suit. Her friend follows suit, and in that moment, I'm just like, oh my God. And the music and the climax of everything. And then she just sees that helicopter go away. And then like the main character just standing there like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back and see my dad. Like, awesome scene. Awesome scene. I just get so choked up.
Is it the tsunami at the beach?
It's not that part though. It's just before that part.
I mean, that's
you're right. That's epic.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah, the beach.
But it's not that scene. It's the scene where she's pulling her friend onto the helicopter.
I think the human moments are that big moment is definitely emotional, but just those very kind of small human moments. I was actually talking about this today at work. We're talking about Avengers Endgame of all movies, and we're talking about how seeing that in the theater, like, oh my God, like how amazing that is. And the part of that movie that makes me cry the most, spoilers, I assume you guys have both seen Avengers Endgame. It was a pretty popular film. Cool, yeah, cool. Spoilers for everyone listening. For a 6-year-old film, it was the biggest film in the history of film. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know. It wasn't Black Widow dying. It wasn't Iron Man dying. It wasn't Peter or Pepper like saying goodbye to Tony. It wasn't the heart going into the river. The part of the movie that makes me cry the most in that film, and it gets me every single time. The funeral's over. There are all the most amazing heroes in the world are kind of talking, and Happy Hogan turns to Tony Stark's door and says, "Can I get you anything? I'd love a cheeseburger. Your dad loves cheeseburgers. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers in the world." And I'm like, oh my God, like Happy Hogan is the driver. He is the guy who worked for the most amazing man in the world. He's surrounded by people who can do impossible things, and all he can do is drive to buy some cheeseburgers, and that's what he'll do to try and he's like, I can't bring your father back, but if you want a cheeseburger, I can do it. And it's so beautiful and human. Like, I'm getting choked up now, like thinking about it. Like,
it is. Oh, mate.
Like that, I'm like, oh my God, like what an amazing moment. Like, and it's such a trivial line. Like, and like if it wasn't for Jon Favreau, like it wouldn't. I think that's such an amazing line in a movie. I cry all the time. I cried in Venom 3 the other day. I was like, what the hell? I remember. I think the review went up earlier today. It'll go up tomorrow. And I said, if you ever told me that I was going to cry in a Venom film, I would have laughed at you. But I cried twice.
I didn't shed any tears in video either, days, but
yeah, I didn't. I started crying around after I moved out. I don't know. I had like a real Robert De Niro in Analyze This moment where I just started crying at everything. I cry all the time. I told you it wouldn't be a rapid fire round. We're still going. All right. Is there an actor or an actress that you'll follow anywhere? It doesn't matter what the movie is. If they're in it, you're there. You want to go check it out. Who's your go-to actor and actress? If you've got one, you might not.
I have one. Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Tom Cruise. I don't know what it is. And I think it's just, again, nostalgia and the movies that I grew up with him in it. And I just feel like I am now stuck with him because of it. And so, yes, I will see the movies that he's in. So that would be...
I didn't get it for the longest time. I've seen his films and I've enjoyed them. I saw Top Gun Maverick and then I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And like that was a film I wasn't interested in. Like I remember like everyone's waiting for Top Gun Maverick. I was like, not me. And then like it finally came out on physical. I was like, I've never seen Top Gun. I should get the double pack. I'll watch them both. And then at least I can give it a chance. First Top Gun I watched, I was like, all right, it was fine, but Top Gun fans need to relax. And then I watched Maverick. I was like, oh my God, like I get it. Like it clicks. And I'd seen, Edge of Tomorrow. I love some of the Mission Impossible stuff. I quite enjoy. But like Maverick, I got it. And then I saw the most recent Mission Impossible, and like what an incredible flick that was. I'm like, so I'm on the, I'm joining the cruise, as it were. Like I'm on board for Tom Cruise. I think, I get it now. I was late to the party, but I'm here now.
Yeah, there's so many of them. So many good movies. What did we watch recently?
Rain Man.
Oh,
so good.
Brilliant.
What's the one with him and Nicole Kidman?
There's a few.
There's a few. We haven't watched Days of Thunder.
Eyes Wide Shut. That's a pretty.
Eyes Wide Shut. Yes.
And Far and Away, is that the other one?
Far and Away. That's an old one. Yeah, we haven't actually watched that.
To be perfectly honest.
No.
The one with Renee Zellweger. Why can't I think of the name?
Vanilla Sky? No, that's not Vanilla Sky.
Love Vanilla Sky.
We were talking about that just before.
I was contemplating putting that in my top 5.
And I would have hated it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about that movie that makes me feel so sad. But
I haven't watched it in a long time. I watched it because I was going through a Cameron Diaz phase. And that is not a Cameron Diaz film. She's in it, but not really. I watched that as a double feature with The Sweetest Thing. That was a weird evening. Magnolia?
Yeah.
That was on my list too.
Yeah,
I was tossing and turning about putting Magnolia or Vanilla Sky. And both of them.
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
And Jerry Maguire. Yeah.
Is that the Renee Zellweger one you're thinking of? Jerry Maguire. That's the one, yeah.
So Tom can do it. He can do the drama.
He can do it all.
He can do comedy, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
What a role. Like,
he
can do it all.
Interview with the Vampire. Oh, look, he's done so many of them.
And he's still jumping off buildings, like at 60 years old.
He did hurt himself this time, didn't he? Like maybe it's time to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, he's hurt himself like a few times.
Yeah. So what about you, Stefan? Is there someone that you kind of gravitate towards?
Look, I'm probably going to have to say, I reckon Leo. I reckon he's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah, nice.
Like anything that he does, I'll see it for sure.
Yeah, nice. Strong pick. The guy's got a pretty flawless filmography. Like,
yeah, I think if I think of anyone else, I don't know. I'll be hitting myself later, but at the moment, I think Leo DiCaprio is probably up there.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Got 2 left.
Yeah.
We don't like to be negative, of course. But what is the worst film you've ever seen?
I watched one recently.
Long Legs. No.
Well, I was like, what? I was like,
no, we wouldn't do that to you, James.
I was like, in a world where like epic movie exists, that's my worst film, I think.
What is the worst movie I've ever seen? That has to be.
Just recently.
No, what would that be?
Hey, if you said Long Legs, I'd be like, I respect your decision. I don't get it, but I respect it.
That movie, I did not.
I mean, I would throw that in there. I would throw it in there, and I just didn't get it. I personally just didn't get it.
Fair enough.
That's a hard one. What's a movie we watched? Dumb and Dumber 2 or something, like something just really bad, really bad. Like everything about it was horrid. Like the music did not match. The acting was really out of place. Direction, the script, like everything about that movie was not good. And part 1 was just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like when you are doing these legacy sequels, which is a phrase I don't know if I'm comfortable with. I'm like, I don't like it's becoming more and more part of the vernacular, like doing one every now and then. But now everything's getting a legacy sequel. Yeah. I don't know if we need that. Yeah.
It doesn't. That comes to our point. Like Beverly Hills Cop 4 or Beverly. What was the other one?
They're doing some more.
Oh, Coming to America.
Coming to America. Like that was horrid as well. And it just does. Yeah, it just doesn't do the first movie any justice. Like, why make it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'd probably say like something like Dumb and Dumber 2. What do you?
Yeah, I'd throw that too.
Yeah.
You guys keeping the peace. And final question, and then I'll let you guys go. What's one movie they should never remake?
They should never remake. Oh my god, what are they doing?
Titanic.
Yeah, well, they can't ever do that unless it's the Titanic 2, and then that was.
They've already done
there
that.
Is a Titanic 2.
They've already done it, but I don't know.
It's on Tubi, and it is amazing. It's oh my god.
100%. Yeah, I feel like
it's like an asylum film, like the low budget studios who like do rip-offs of other movies.
Like
Titanic 2 They do. There's a scene in the ballroom, and it is smaller than a school gym. Like it is. Like they filmed in like a broom closet, and like,
we gotta say this.
there's a bit where like the boat is sinking. Spoiler alert for a film called Titanic. And like someone's worried about getting trapped, but like there's clearly enough room for a horse to get through. Like it's and there's a lot of CGI where there probably shouldn't be. It's when Tina was pregnant, she was like, I just want to watch bad movies. And I was like, well, let's pull up Tubi. And we did Titanic 2, we watched Scorpions, we watched The Sand, just like awful movies. But like really entertaining. Like I would put like, I know it's people like to beat up on The Room, but I actually adore The Room. I think The Room is such a testament to
A lot of people say that.
the filmmaking spirit. Like this guy clearly definitely made the film he planned to. He says he didn't now, but he definitely meant to make that film. But like he did it, and he became really famous, and it is still playing in theaters regularly, like 20 years later. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't mind like Birdemic is another one I get a lot of fun with, but
I've heard of that one too. Isn't what's another one? I think Sharknado
is the first one that was kind of like, let's deliberately do it.
Yes,
and
but was that an asylum movie?
That was a sci-fi movie. So Sci-Fi, the channel in America, it's called Sci-Fi. And they did that. They did Sharktopus. They did Mega Croc, like all those like, and they're all with CGI. So it's like taking the idea of, Anaconda or Lake Placid, which I think are genuinely fun movies.
They're great
But
movies.
then just like CGIing them up and like kind of deliberately trying to make kind of cheesy films. But it's
are they remaking, is it American Psycho?
Yes, but it's Luca Guadagnino directing it, who did Call Me by Your Name, and he did the Suspiria remake, which I think is maybe the best remake of all time. And controversially, I think it's better than the Argento original, which I know a lot of people hate me saying for, but I love the Suspiria remake because it's very much telling the story of Suspiria, but it doesn't look anything or seem anything like Suspiria. So it's very only thematically like a remake. And I think who was attached? Austin Butler was attached.
Oh wow,
to be in it.
Okay.
Which I'm okay with, but I heard rumors that it was going to be like a tech bro kind of approach instead of the world of finance. It was going to be like kind of like a tech guy, which to me I'm like, get Kumail Nanjiani. I think that guy's got like I think he could do a cool villain role. Like I think he's really like, we see him as a comedian, we see him as a love interest, but I reckon he could play a really like mean SOB. Like I don't know. And you wouldn't expect it. Like that is not. No one's been like, who should be the lead now? A major film. Kumail, like he's great. I think he'll give you a real like choice that people wouldn't think of. But I do appreciate people being like, don't remake that film. I get it. Like it's a pretty beloved film.
Look. Who knows? There may be a great one. We'll see.
So those great movies, I think, like Terminator 2, you can like Terminator. Those two movies you can't remake. They've tried doing endless sequels. And I turned to Tanya when we were watching T2 the other day or something. I was like, Tanya, like, look at this movie and look at how many horror elements are in this movie. That's something that all these other movies can't even like come close to. They're not doing the horror sort of theme in these sequels. It's all sci-fi. So it's kind of like you can't really remake, I don't know, you can't really remake those like Terminator, Titanic. Like
so any James Cameron film, basically.
Any James Cameron film, really.
I know what this Titanic 2 business.
Oh man. Just like get some popcorn, get some snacks, like go in with the lowest expectations and you'll still be disappointed. And it's just but it was fun. Like I can't recommend it on the same levels like The Room. Like The Room I think is legit genius, but Titanic 2, like I don't know what you're like as film watchers, but like if my wife and I go in knowing it's probably not a good film, we fully expect to have a conversation the entire time the film's on and literally narrate what's wrong with the film, and that's what we did with Titanic 2, and it was a really lovely evening. So if you know what you get yourself into, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
I think we've got to suss this out.
I just got to randomly put it on.
Well, you made it. You survived. That's it. That is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you guys had some fun talking movies. And
thank you.
It's very cool to catch up after all this time and reminisce.
Yeah.
literally feels like just picked up where we left off.
It kind of does, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I think that's kind of the relationship, and that's how it sort of started. And glad that it's still going. So, thank you for having us, James.
Thank you so
I'm
much,
very
James.
excited to see where
Absolutely.
the show's headed. Obviously, with the 2 new additions.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. Before we get out of here, we like to do plugs. Now, I know, as far as I know, you only have your personal account, Tania, which of course you don't have to give out. That's your private business.
Yeah.
But Stefan, you do drumming online. Do you want to tell people where to find you and your drumming videos?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just do drum covers and play all my favorite sort of songs. So if you go to YouTube, you can look up myself. It's Stefan, STEFAN _ Frederick, FREDERIC, and _ drums.
Nice.
And
We'll definitely tag it when the episode goes up. We'll put a little link
cool.
in there so people can check it out.
Yeah.
Nice one. And then, of course, everyone can stay tuned for the horror film obviously we're going to make based on Tania's storytelling.
Trey excited about this.
Excellent. Well, thank you again to Tania and Stefan for coming on the show. Thank you everyone for listening to the show. Hopefully you dug it and you were so patient while we waited for a new episode. But this episode, what a triumphant return. I haven't laughed that much in an episode in a long time. Like, oh my God. If you want to support this show, Instagram, I was a teenage film snob _ between every single word. You can watch 90-second reviews. Maddie and Nick are starting to put content out there as well. Maddie just did a review the other day, so go check that out. Our website is still being created, but we're not too far off. It should launch in March. In the meantime, you can get merch from the Instagram page. Just go on the link tree, all that sort of nonsense there. And if you want to get in touch with the show, send us a message, slide into our DMs, all that good fun stuff. But otherwise, thanks again for listening. We'll be back very, very soon. But until next time, as we say every time on the show, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.